good morning, everybody. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather. We've got an early start here. I apologize. I got a little sidetracked there starting the live stream, so it took a little bit to get on camera. But our timeline has moved up a little bit. Looks like there's an outflow boundary here that is kind of pushing everything, like I say, a little ahead of schedule here. And what we're looking at is this severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for mostly the Metroplex here. And it looks like, for the moment, the primary concern with this, as we've been talking about, is the threat of damaging winds. And so as all of this moves south, I put this into motion here, you can see that as that outflow boundary moves southward, that is blowing up new storms. That boundary is going to be the primary driver of those winds. And, you know, if we put this, let's put the velocity on here and take a look at that. If it wants to, there we go. So, I mean, you can see a very clear outflow boundary there, very clear winds moving directly south. And you can see some of those stronger winds from Flower Mound to Corinth to Denton and Frisco. So this is definitely a windy storm. And if you remember from earlier, we were talking about whether it was going to be the storms from the west that were going to move in quicker or the storms from the north. Well, the storms from the north are winning. And I'll tell you, this storm northeast of Abilene, it doesn't look like there's any rotation there, but nice little hooky-doo there. But I'll tell you, you know, these storms, the primary risk with these, the primary concern that I have is going to be the threat of damaging winds. I'm curious to see if this all continues to congeal into one line, which is what we expect to happen. And I was expecting that to be moving in around 3, 4, 5 a.m. The thing is, though, we have this outflow boundary from the north that is going to push some of this in, and that could, if that continues to move southward and continues to bubble up new storms, could very well affect what we see later on in the morning. And I'm coming to you from the weather desk. I know that this is not the green screen that, you know, people are usually used to, but it has been kind of a crazy weekend. Not a whole lot of sleep going on. I've got a sick kiddo, and sometimes nighttime is when that gets worse, as I'm sure any parent can tell you. And so I'm going to do myself the small kindness of, you know, staying at the desk and that kind of thing. And drinking plenty of coffee as well. So this is our situation. This is our setup right now. And you can see that the outflow boundary very clearly moving southward all the way down beyond the big airport here. And all of that outflow boundary stretching from Allen to Plano, Carrollton to Watauga to Azle. And that's going to continue to move on southward. So it's in the Metroplex right now, but will continue to move, to progress southward over the course of the next several minutes here. You know, I wonder, I don't imagine that we're going to see, yeah, we're not, I mean, I'm not seeing a whole lot of hail threat here. Not really much of a concern regarding the hail threat. There's probably some small hail mixed in with all of this, but I'm not seeing anything that's, you know, throwing up any alarm bells. Lots of lightning with these. The main concern is going to be the gusty winds with this one. If we go farther up towards the Red River, there are some flash flood warnings in effect up into southern Oklahoma. One north of Sweetwater as well. Those places have been getting heavy rain really most of the day and the night. So I'm not too concerned about flash flooding here either for the moment. let's see, Rhonda, you're saying are tornadoes possible? I mean, they're possible. This is not really a situation right now where I am too terribly concerned about tornadoes or anything like that. If we get them, they would be brief and fairly isolated, right? These kind of leading edge of a storm tornadoes. So I'm not really concerned about that, especially with an outflow boundary moving forward. That kind of makes it to where it's just not that conducive to, the inflow you would need to get rotation. So I'm not really that concerned right now about tornadoes. Once that line gets a little more organized, then we may have to watch some things. But right now, things are kind of messy. So I'm not really too terribly concerned about tornadoes at the moment. You probably saw that severe thunderstorm warning pop up on the left side of the screen there. That's for Breckenridge and a couple of other counties there. And that is for the storms that are moving due east at this point. So again, we will see all of this activity eventually will become a line that will move. That is a terrible arrow, but will move southeastward. And so as that comes together, that will greatly increase the wind threat because that will be a more organized line charging to the southeast. So we'll see what happens. I expect that to happen over the course of the next, 2 to 3 hours here. And what's going to be interesting to see is throughout the rest of today, because it is officially Monday, Memorial Day. That's when we're going to be seeing the line move through, but I want to see how much rain we have behind it. That could be interesting. And that could also help us determine maybe what the flood issues might look like. Because if we have persistent rain through the day, and then we get to the next round of storms possible tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, then we could have some flood problems. But if we get a break from the rain and we're able to kind of settle whatever rain we get, hey, that might kind of help to mitigate some of that. Scott asking how much rain can we expect? So right now, we're looking at 2 to 3 inches of rain possible by, I think they said Tuesday. I think I heard Tuesday morning. I think that's what we were looking at. And early Tuesday morning, there could be another round of rain. But locally, if you get just repeated, constant downpours, we could be looking at closer to, 4 to 5 inches in some places. But I think 2 to 3 or maybe 2 to 4 inches, if we're being generous, is probably more likely over the course of the next, 24 or 36 hours. Nathan, you said your son is with his mother in Salina. I know that is out of your coverage area, but is there anything for that right now? So Salina, need to double check the location on that because I'm getting it mixed up here. And I know I don't have it right in my head. So I'm going to double check it because I'm getting it mixed up with something else. And the map just doesn't want to cooperate with me. Okay. So Salina, it's moving through there, obviously. If we zoom in, maybe it'll come up. It doesn't want to come up. There we go. So, it's moving out of Salina right now. So, you can see Salina up there. It's in northwestern Collin County there. So, it's moving through there. So Salina will start to clear out here fairly soon. Erica, once the line forms, is that when you'll be able to see how much rain comes behind it? Yes and no. Sometimes when you're trying to see how much rain is going to come behind it, sometimes that kind of depends on where you are. We'll see how much rain is going to come behind it when it moves out, frankly. And I know people hate that answer because you want to know ahead of time all the details that you can. But it's hard to say because, we could have drier air filter in behind it. It could also depend on how close the front is when it stalls. So there's a few variables that make it hard for me to say exactly how much rain we're going to get really at any point before we're there. So just kind of keep that in mind that, we could have more rain behind it. We could have a drier day in between rounds. It's really hard to tell that much ahead of time. And we have someone asking about Lindale, Texas. And I mean, Lindale, you can see it on the map there, west of Canton. So, I mean, yeah, there's storms headed there eventually. I mean, not anytime soon, but, later today, there will be some storms that move through. And Donese, you're asking about Waxahachie. Same deal. We're watching these storms come in. We have the same threat we had when we talked yesterday. So, we have a line of storms that'll come through. Damaging winds will be the primary concern. Could have some large hail as well. So nothing has really changed in terms of the forecast, except for the timeline. Looks like we could be starting things off a little earlier here. Now, it could change the intensity of the storms when they eventually move through, just by virtue of, getting us started earlier and before the more organized line comes through, so that, that may lessen the severe weather threat in our area if we can work over the air enough. So that's kind of where things stand for that as well. And Anissa, for Alvarado, same thing. Storms going to roll through. Could be some severe storms, damaging winds, large hail possible. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be area wide here, folks. This is one of those days where it's pretty much the same thing for everybody. Now, the farther south you are, the more likely... Sorry about that. The more likely... That was my alarm to originally wake up. But that was, the farther south you go, the more likely you are to get a more organized line of storms, and that could increase your wind threat. But generally here, I mean, we're talking, it's going to be the same thing for everybody. The storms rolling throughout the morning with damaging winds and some large hail being the primary threats. Yes, there is a tornado threat, but it's relatively low at this point, not really that considerable. So I'm not terribly concerned about tornadoes at this time. So this is our line of storms. This is what we're looking at. And new severe thunderstorm warning there for parts of Dallas, Rockwall, and Collin counties. So, I mean, it's going through the Metroplex now, and it's making its way farther south. Anissa, been up waiting to see if we get anything, and so far nothing, and just want to make sure. Yeah, I mean, you can see on the map, if you know where Alvarado is on the map, I mean, it's not through there yet, so don't make any assumptions quite yet, because it's just not there yet. Jacqueline, you're in McKinney visiting your daughter, and lots of heavy rain and lightning, very strong winds, one exit from Buc-ee's, no hail. So yeah, not much hail in this. And there's a new flash flood warning for Denton and what is that? I'm not as familiar north of I-20, Wise County. Okay, because I know that's Jack County, and I know Young County's right over here. I'm not as familiar north of the metro. Got to get better about that. I mean, I don't cover it very often, so those North Metro counties, if you will, I'm not as familiar with those yet. The severe thunderstorm watch goes until 5 a.m. as well. So I had somebody ask me earlier, so does that mean that the severe weather threat is gone by, or will be, eliminated or out of here by 5 a.m. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think that they were probably issuing one out as far as they usually, could otherwise, and we'll probably have to extend that at that point, just depending on where things sit. Josh, you said the light green stuff on is the cap on the radar, so it's the cap right now holding strong. I mean, the cap's going to be rolled out by the front, so the cap isn't really a factor at this point. I will say, I mean, all of this is probably going to be elevated above the cap anyway, but I mean, that we're looking at the cap not really being a factor in this morning's storms. Lindsay, late to the live watching gun barrel. So yeah, I mean, again, you can see it on the map. We've got storms headed that way, and it's pretty much the same forecast as what we've been talking about the last day or so. Little Mama 88, what time will it hit Corsicana? It's hard to say because I don't know how much farther this outflow boundary is going to go before we have a more organized line, and that could speed up. So it's hard to say, but I would say Corsicana, I mean, reasonably, you can expect this stuff in the next couple of hours. I'll say that. By, 3, 4 a.m., I'm thinking Corsicana probably, well, by 4 a.m. or so, Corsicana probably has more activity going on there. So that would be my guess. So yeah, when you want to know that, here's the thing. When you want to know what's going on, what's headed your way, is it raining there yet? Look at the map, y'all. You got to look at the radar. That's why we have it up here. And you got to make sure you know where you are on the map when you're going to follow weather, because this is how we do it. I mean, we're looking at a map of the whole area. That's how we judge everything. So make sure you're familiar with maps and where you are in that in the equation here, because that's how we're going to tell you what's going on. So Jesse, can you explain what the cap is? So the cap is a level of warm air above the surface. And normally you lose temperature, things cool down as you increase in elevation, right? Which is why, if you go up in an airplane, a lot of the time it's, kind of chilly. So when you gain altitude, you lose temperature, right? So that's the normal kind of setup of things. What can happen, though, is you can have a warm layer of air up above the surface so that you're cooling, and then it stops, and all of a sudden you hit this warm layer of air. And Little Mama 88, it shows rain in Corsicana, but it's not yet. So that's not rain. That's a false echo, and I'm actually going to explain that as part of this. So you have this warm layer of air, and storms need those cooling temperatures to continue to rise, because that's unstable air is able, that allows that storm lift to continue to go farther up as you lose temperature when you gain elevation. But when you hit that warm layer of air, that stops those storms. So one of two things has to happen in order for storms to form. Either they have to form above the cap, which, a lot of the time that limits severity, because it doesn't have the surface support that it needs. It doesn't have the lift from the surface itself. Or if you are looking at, if you're looking at, it's 2 a.m. and I'm faltering here. But, when you have, tornadoes and a lot of your, downburst, microburst winds and very large hail, those kind of things, those are usually surface-based storms. They're lower to the ground. So when, if you have that cap in place and you're not able to lift from the surface, then you are kind of, you're stuck at a point where you can't, that warm air, you won't let anything happen. But the two ways you can get around it is one, obviously we talked about the storms forming on top of it, but if the cap is weak enough or the updraft is strong enough, the storm is strong enough, it can punch through that cap and then grow from there. One way you weaken the cap is you create that equilibrium between the ground and the cap. So the space between the ground and the cap, if you start warming it up to where now you have equilibrium and you no longer have that differential there, because if the cap is, 85 degrees and the ground is 80 degrees, it only takes 5 degrees to have equilibrium to where now there's no longer that differential. That differential is what creates that sinking air and that layer of stable air relative to where the ground is and relative to the air above it. And so if you heat the ground enough, that's going to weaken the cap because there's no longer that differential. I hope that makes sense. It's 2 a.m. and I am already exhausted, so hopefully I'm making sense here. But once you weaken that cap by warming up, then that's, it's a lot easier for storms to punch through, those updrafts to punch through. Now, the green on the green that you're seeing on the radar, and I know that you're seeing that in Corsicana, Hubbard. What that is that's kind of clutter on the radar. And the radar beam, when it hits that cap, gets diverted back downward. When it hits an inversion, a temperature inversion, again, warmer up high where it should be cooler. So that's why it's called an inversion. It's kind of an opposite. So it's gonna hit that and then bounce downward, and it's gonna catch all this ground clutter, bugs and dust and whatever. So that's what you're seeing. So it's kind of a false echo, if you will. But the reason it gets more clear, the reason it gets more prevalent at night is because the surface cools, so the cap becomes more well defined, right? So that warm layer of air, the differential between that and the air under it towards the surface, it gets greater, so that cap thickens, it increases in strength, and that's why you see more of it in the overnight hours. So hope that makes sense. Yeah, that's the cap. That is a 2 a.m. very tired attempt at explaining the cap. So I'm curious, something that we can reference here is the cyclone port in Glen Heights. So cyclone port is something that Radar Omega does that will allow for us to monitor weather conditions. So we'll actually be able to watch the cyclone port in Glen Heights to watch what it does, watch what it reports to us. And that'll be interesting as that storm kind of rolls through. So let's actually get that on the screen here really quickly, so we can just kind of check that out. So I want to show you, so this is Glen Heights, and they have a cyclone port. They've allowed us to reference it. And 78 degrees right now. 73-degree dew point, very humid. 3 miles per hour winds. And really just kind of a still wind there at the moment. So that's what we're seeing there. So we'll check back on that here in just a moment. And Annette, you're asking, has the heaviest part of the storm made it through Justin? So if we again go north, yeah, I mean the Justin area, Justin's going to be what? Denton County, correct? So, I mean, it's still working through there. So Justin, you still have some heavier activity moving through there. I would give it another 30 minutes to an hour or so before it's going to clear out of the Justin area. So hang tight. Still heavy going through the Justin area, but it's going to improve over the next, like I say, 30 minutes to an hour up there. So 3 miles west northwest of Lowry Crossing, McKinney Airport gusted at 61 miles per hour. So that is just above severe limits. So you have to get winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, basically 60 miles per hour or greater to get a severe thunderstorm warning. And so McKinney Airport is reporting a gust of 61 miles per hour. So that's baseline severe. That's not anything terribly exceptional. And Joey, what are we looking at for Palmer? I mean, the same thing we've been talking about. I mean, you can see the storms moving southward. So, storms moving through in the next, couple of hours. And gusty winds, damaging winds possibly if this storm, intensifies. And maybe some hail, but not really looking at much of a hail situation right now. And Dunnice, yeah, you have PTSD from the March storm. I understand. Fortunately, right now, I'm not seeing 90-mile-an-hour winds. But what was an anomaly about that March storm is that, I mean, we didn't really need, um, we didn't have any kind of situation where the winds were. We didn't have a prediction ahead of time that those winds were going to happen. It was a microburst, and those happen momentary. I mean, it just kind of they just kind of happen. There's no steady increase in winds or anything like that. It's just a sudden, thing. And so that's why we weren't able to say, hey, by the way, there's going to be 90-mile-an-hour winds. Additionally, the radar was having to look through all of that hail. I mean, the hail volume in that storm was insane by itself. So the radar beam wasn't even really able to see things too well. So that's just kind of the pickle that we were in with that storm. I can tell you right now, I don't see those winds, but we're going to keep an eye on that. Marcy, is south of the Metroplex going to see any of this? Yeah, I mean, you see that outflow boundary moving due south. So yeah, it's coming. We will see these storms next. Samantha in Denton County asking how things are looking. Well, I mean, the storms are moving through there, but the greatest risk right now in Denton County, you're behind the windy part of the storm. So really the higher risk there is going to be the flash flooding. So if you're in a flood-prone area, definitely pay attention to that. Otherwise, Denton County, you're kind of on the back side of the storm for the most part. So it's going to be a loud one. There's going to be lots of heavy rain falling, but things are going to be, winding down, I think, fairly soon in the Denton County area, just because the greatest winds have moved south of you. They're moving right through Fort Worth right now, moving right through Love Field, headed towards Dallas and Arlington here. So that's going to be the situation in that area. Is we're definitely seeing the winds as they are picking up in Dallas, Fort Worth. I'm checking out some checking out some traffic cameras in Dallas to try to get an idea of what they're seeing there. I mean, it's really hard to tell, but I mean, those winds will be moving into downtown Dallas fairly soon. So we will definitely notice a change. Jonathan Tracy, I haven't seen any rotation at this point. This is all an outflow boundary, so we're not really in a position to likely get rotation with this activity. I don't think we're going to see that with this complex. Alexis Davis just hopped on. What are we looking for the Ellis Navarro area? Same thing we've been talking about. We've got a line of storms coming in, and over the next 2-3 hours, we will have those storms moving through. Kind of watching and waiting to see if all of this activity is going to come together as a line or what's going to happen. So, I mean, it's the same for everybody. We're just waiting for this line of storms to come through, waiting to see how organized are they going to be as they advance. And this outflow boundary is definitely, you can see it there in the Metroplex. It's getting farther ahead of the storm, so I'm really curious to see what it does. It is building storms as it moves southward, and those yellow boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings that have been issued primarily for the wind threat, because you can see hail sizes for a severe storm are 1 inch or more in diameter. So that's going to be below severe limits, right? So the hail is not to severe limits, but the winds of 60 miles an hour or greater, that's where you get your severe weather criteria there. Joey Christian, 4 a.m. for Ellis County. It's moved up. I mean, you can, if you look at the map here, and again, you got to know your maps to be able to follow this stuff well. But you can see those winds are moving pretty quickly out of, through Dallas and Tarrant counties. So that's going to continue to move southward. So we'll be getting the winds and the storms that are building off of them here in the next hour or so. Carrollton and the Colony is getting slammed right now with very high winds and torrential downpour. Yeah, I mean, that's what we've got coming. Sherry Parrott, what do the yellow blocks mean? That's the severe thunderstorm warnings we were just talking about. Victor asking if we can expect anything tomorrow. Well, today, it's technically Monday. So Monday, we have the morning storms that are coming through now. We have another chance of storms tomorrow afternoon, or this afternoon. And then early Tuesday morning, we could see more storms, and then Tuesday afternoon possibly. The thing is, this front is going to stall, and it's kind of going to hang out for a few days. So it's going to be, we're looking at the possibility of storms really for the next several days, and it's going to be tough to predict some of those. So you may have to be a little patient with me in terms of getting those more precise forecasts each day, because the day, that front, it may depend on where it is on any given day to kind of tell you what the forecast is going to be. I meant to put out a forecast update, a 7-day forecast at least this evening, just to peek at the week. But I was so busy trying to kind of get ready for this that I didn't think about it. So, but we'll have another 7-day forecast tomorrow. So the winds behind these storms, I mean, it's definitely quite the windy storm, and really, it looks like what we had in Waxahachie a few days ago, where we have this cold pool that's developing. If you look at this, let me split this into two. Look at that. If you look at this, I mean, you can see the stronger winds in Flower Mound, Denton, Corinth. You can see it's almost behind that outflow boundary there, and I think part of the reason for that is we're getting this cold pool that's developing kind of on the backside of the storm. So you can have the heaviest rain move out and then still be getting crazy winds. So that's where we're kind of getting some of those stronger winds. When the rain seems like it's tapering off, still getting the stronger winds going on. Henna, thanks for the next gen call from Richardson. What a wake up call. Yeah, no joke. For sure. That will get your attention. And, Weather Call Next Gen is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. So with this severe thunderstorm warning that popped up, and with the severe weather warnings that are coming, this will give you a chance to be warned for those storms before they get here, for those severe thunderstorm warnings. It's going to let you know what to expect. So when those, when you get that severe thunderstorm warning, that tornado warning, you're going to get a phone call from me. It says, hey, we got, you're included in a severe thunderstorm warning, a tornado warning, whatever. Fortunately, no tornado warnings, this morning so far. But regardless, we're definitely looking at severe thunderstorm warnings that are being issued. And if you want that to call your phone and let you know directly, we just put the link in the chat here. If you want to be notified, then sign up for Weather Call. It's $15 a year, just over $1 a month. I mean, it's not, it's really not that much to ask to be warned there. So it's $1.25 a month to be called anytime there's severe weather going on. Melinda, you're asking about Tyler, Texas. Well, Tyler's quite a ways away. I will be honest with you, I haven't really paid attention to Tyler to figure out the timing there, but just looking at models, looks like later this morning. So probably, 8 to 10 o'clock looks like. Now, I haven't taken a lot of time to look at Tyler because it's farther out of my area, but that would be my guess, probably mid to late morning before it hits the Tyler area. Natalie, only winds and some rain in Waxahachie. So, I mean, yeah, generally, I mean, the damaging wind threat's going to be the main severe weather threat here. Could be some small hail. Here we have the new severe thunderstorm warning. Let's wait for weather call, shall we? It was just issued, so we should get a call here from Weather Call Next Gen letting me know, hey, you're included in a severe thunderstorm warning. Because it's right there. So, I mean, the thing is, Ennis will not get this call because they're not included in the polygon. Forreston, I'm pretty sure Forreston's far enough south. Italy, Milford, Grandview, Joshua won't get the call because they're outside of the warning here. So that's the way weather call works. Is if you're not included in the warning, if you don't have any reason to be worried about it, you're not going to be included. So they have up to the hail size here, 2/4 size hail. So now they're expecting, borderline severe hail, and then winds, 60 mile per hour winds, to be a part of this storm. So you can see how big this warning is in comparison. So the National Weather Service is anticipating that we will get more organized storms by the time they get down to parts of Johnson, Ellis, Kaufman counties. So that's what they're expecting, and I think that's wise. Because a lot of times what happens is you see how disorganized this is. It's going to, as it proceeds southward, we're going to get more organized storms, which will mean more intense conditions. So that new severe thunderstorm warning, that goes until 3:30 a.m. So for about just over an hour from now, before that severe thunderstorm warning expires. And again, as we look across this, that's where we're looking at these storms moving southward here. So let's see. Lauren Crawford got your call. Matt, you got your call. Yeah, so several people getting their phone calls here, their weather calls. Awesome. And if you haven't gotten your call and you're supposed to, looks like Pat Ovilla, no call there. So if you're not getting a call, check your settings, make sure you're all set up there, and just put the link for weather call in the chat again, so that's available to you. I haven't personally gotten a call yet, but that doesn't mean I won't. So I'll have to check that out. So if you don't get a call, you got to make sure that you check your settings, because I've had situations before. Let's see. I've seen it before where, you go in, and I think Matt actually got something like this too, where, he found out that there was a setting that was weird or something. I've had more than one person tell me that, hey, we got, I got a, I didn't get my call, and then it turned out there was a phone number that was weird or something. So that, that can happen. Okay, so here's the text message letting me know a tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning. Whoa. Severe thunderstorm warning has been issued, and you click that link in the text, and you're supposed to get a phone call and a text. So when you get the phone call, it says, hey, let's get your attention, there's more information, and then your text message is going to have a link where you can go and actually see, hey, that's where we got the, you can see the polygon. If you're not looking at radar, you can see where the polygon is, you can see where the storm is, and get a little more detail. So here's Weather Call Next Gen. I think one of these, I wonder if one of the callers is running a little late. I mean, not that there's any other storms going on, but let's check this out.
This is Kevin Crouch. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for your location for a storm capable of producing damaging winds or large hail. We recommend seeking shelter in a sturdy building and staying away from windows. Repeating, you are in the path of a severe thunderstorm. This message comes from Weather Call NextGen. If you'd like to hear this.
So that's the call from Weather Call NextGen. Came in a little late, and we'll check into that. But Weather Call has been working overtime the last several days here. So, that particular automated caller might have been a little behind on the coffee there. But you see how quickly all the other people got their calls. So I will tell you that so Natalie. Okay, so hopefully that link will get to. I think that should have tagged you. So yeah. So there's that. So. No, man, all the notifications. Trying to get my phone to chill out. So, that call came in a little later, but I'll definitely look into that because I know there were a few of you that were getting a call, and I did too, where you didn't get any information, and it just said, press 1 to hear the message, and you couldn't actually hear the message because it just kept saying, press 1, press 1, press 1, press 1. And it just didn't give me anything. Turns out there was an error in the back end, very easily fixed, so that's been taken care of. This storm will bring higher winds. So several people got the call. Great stuff. Thank you so much for signing up for Weather Call because it really does make a difference. And just imagine, in a situation like this, you don't have to be awake until the warning gets to you. And even then, you may find the warning gives you a little lead time. So you have some time to kind of wake up and, get yourself woken up and attentive. Or if you're in the warning and, suddenly you find out, hey, it's right almost here, then you can take action. But here's the thing. With Weather Call, you don't have to stay up wondering if you need to pay attention to a warning or not. You go to sleep, you turn the ringer on, it's going to call you when you need to be up, right? So that's the thing. You get the call, and that's going to tell you, hey, pay attention, get tuned into South Metro Weather, and you'll be paying attention. Nita Salas, are you in the severe thunderstorm warning? Because if you're not in that polygon, you're not going to get a call. So, let's see. Just got a second call. So you're getting a second call. You're in Venus. Okay. So I wonder if the automated system is just. There may be I wonder if there's another bug there. I will say that when there have been bugs in the system, the folks at Weather Call have been very quick to respond and get those fixed. So if you're experiencing anything weird with Weather Call, always let me know because they are very quick to jump on those and make sure those are taken care of. So just like any other technology, there can be weird things that happen. But hey, it's by and large it's working very well, but those little bugs that we do have, if we do have those, they have been phenomenal. So I woke up to watch the weather, not a commercial. Well, sorry, but we're talking about technology that keeps people informed about the weather. So if you don't like it, there's so many others that do my job that you would enjoy more. But when it comes to this kind of thing that has been successful, that people have enjoyed, I'm going to talk about it. So, because it is relevant. Sorry, it's not exactly what you want. So, but again, hey, I'm not the only one out there. But I'll say that if you go over to Ryan Hall or something, they do plenty of commercials too. So I'm just saying, just letting you know. So let's see. How long until this hits Red Oak? Well, it's moving pretty quickly that direction. So, in Red Oak, you're going to start feeling those winds here in the next, I would say, 20, 30 minutes or so, if that. Let's see. Yeah, a few other people got a couple of calls. So yeah, we'll if you're getting 2 calls, we'll get that checked out. But I'd rather you get 2 than none, right? So, but we'll check those out. Um, let's see. Just had a call for Waxahachie. Had mine with Pete for 10 years. Next time we'll use yours. Yeah. So, Jill, either way works. The main thing is having those ways to get warnings. Have a way to get a warning. It doesn't have to be my way. It can be, there's multiple ways out there. I'll tell you why I like what the brand that I support, but the important thing is getting warnings, because a deal like this, I mean, it's 2:30 in the morning. And so you need to be aware of this stuff, because by the time the storm gets here, it could be more organized. Winds could start picking up. And some folks in this area, you got to know when those damaging winds are coming through. Debbie Corkin, what are we expecting for? I'm getting a lot of different towns here. So I'll just tell you that for any areas that are in the line of these storms, so you can see on the map, where you are relative to this line of storms, which, I mean, it's going to pretty much hit us. And I know there's a lot of people asking, hey, is there rotation here and there and everywhere? I'm not seeing rotation, guys. I'm just not seeing it. I know there's a lot of weather guys on YouTube that are, hey, they're looking for anywhere they can find rotation. I'm not seeing any at this point. So that's not really part of the conversation. Trust me, I'll let you know if it is. But for our whole area, as we come through, as those storms come through, damaging winds are going to be the main prospect here. We have a report from Dallas Love Field of winds of 59.8 miles per hour. So basically 60 miles per hour. Let's see. Yeah, so 59 miles per hour in White Settlement. McKinney Airport, 68 miles per hour. That's the strongest report that I've seen so far. And so most of the wind gusts from this have been reported as about 60 miles per hour. And that's baseline severe. That's your basic, 58 miles per hour is your baseline. That's your threshold. But 68 miles per hour at McKinney Airport, that's been, let's see, how long ago was that? That's been the strongest that we've had a report of so far. And that was at 218. So that was quite a while ago. But, sometimes these automated reports are not quite as accurate, but the vast majority that I've seen so far have been 60 miles per hour, right around there. So we're looking at basically, your baseline severe weather winds. Do you know how fast it's moving? It just hit in Richard, and I'm so exhausted. So, yeah, I mean, if you're in Richardson, there's not really anything too concerning at this point. There are some strong winds in this storm. Richardson, you're going to have some strong winds. There are gusty winds on the back side of this. If you look at this, there's this cold pool that has kind of developed here in Denton County. That's where a lot of the stronger winds are at this point. There's also gusty winds kind of on the leading edge, but it seems like the stronger winds are just kind of back behind it where that cold pool has formed. And so at this point, I'm not looking at anything particularly, insane, but again, and Scott, I see your questions about hail. We'll talk about that in a moment. Monica, you're saying, will we hear the sirens for high winds? Usually the sirens are going to be sounded for winds 70 miles per hour or greater. Somewhere 70, 80, I forget exactly how the North Texas COG is doing that. But that's where we have the... if you have those outdoor warning sirens, two things. Where's my soapbox here? Two things. One is that those are sounded for usually the more extreme severe thunderstorms. So again, golf ball to baseball sized hail, like really big hail, and then winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour and higher. So those storms that are exceptionally destructive, those are what those outdoor warning sirens are called. And the reason I call them outdoor warning sirens, they're for outdoors, right? So that's how those are supposed to be heard. They're not supposed to be heard inside your house. If you need warnings inside your house, I recommend Weather Call. But that's just kind of the way that goes. They're for the reason that they have these outdoor warning sirens, especially towards urban centers, they're meant to be heard outdoors. So when you have outdoor events, baseball games, I mean, we're talking about the Metroplex here. You got concerts. You got a number of things going on outside. You got your typical Southern dads that are outside looking at the storm going, I wonder if there's going to be a tornado. He's got to know somehow. And they're not listening to anybody that's telling them to go inside. Maybe the siren will tell them. So, you've got those outdoor warning sirens for that purpose, but they're not supposed to be heard indoors. So I'll stop preaching. Let me catch up on questions here. Nathan, you're asking about the tornado threat this morning. Like I said, low tornado threat. It's not zero, but it's pretty low. The setup really isn't conducive for that right now. Matt, yeah, not me standing in my backyard right now. Matt doesn't, oh, I said it's typical Southern dad. I mean, he's, I would consider you a typical dad. So, plus Matt is, Matt's getting field reports. We'll say it that way. We're getting field reports and he's reporting to me. So we'll categorize Matt as a storm spotter. So yeah, there's the link to sign up for Weather Call. I think Dylan, thank you, Dylan, for posting that as well. Let's see. Megan, will Cleburne eventually be included in the yellow polygon or no? Possibly. I mean, there could be a severe thunderstorm warning issued there. Right now, the strongest winds look to go east of there, but there could be one issued for Cleburne at some point. Who do I contact since I do not get a phone call? So, Janice, the first thing to do again is to, if you, the Alexa alert, just tell Alexa she's late. So who do I contact since I do not get a phone call? So Janice, first make sure you're in the polygon, because if you are, you'll get a call. If not, you won't. Also check your settings when you log into your Weather Call account. Because I've had more than one person tell me there was a weird fluke, either a button was pushed or, some setting was turned off or the phone number was off by a digit or something weird. So check that too. Janice, you got a text, but not a call. Was that for the severe thunderstorm warning just now, or was that for the watch earlier? That can make a difference as well. Bree Lynn asking, what time do you expect it to hit Waxahachie? We'll start getting those winds probably in the next 20 to 30 minutes or so, I think. How fast are they clocking this is moving? Southeast at 35. Yeah, okay. 30, I mean, that's pretty average. That's not terribly fast, but Natalie, maybe a dumb question, but does the app follow your location or is only linked to the address? So good question. Number one, it's not an app. It's just a web service. So it's not having to find you with GPS and cell service and all that kind of stuff. But what you can do, you're going to sign up for your address. It's going to pinpoint your addresses where to link those warnings. However, you can do the Find Me feature so that if you're staying at a friend's house or a hotel or something like that somewhere else other than your location, it's not for when you're driving around. We have a separate service for that, actually. If you want Weather Call on the go, that literally is a GPS device for your car, no installation required. But, that's something else. But you can use the Find Me feature if you're somewhere else temporarily, and that will find your location and set it temporarily as that other place. But no, it's going to go by your address. So you're not depending on GPS to figure out where you are. Camping in a tent in Navarro Mills, keeping an eye on when we will need to get in our vehicle. Yeah, so if you're camping right now, I'm so sorry. I feel bad. But yeah, I would say in the next hour or so in Navarro Mills, you'll be wanting to pay attention. Scott, looks like a heavy rain event, nothing severe for Midlothian. I mean, you are included in a severe thunderstorm warning in Midlothian. So I would caution against making any conclusions there. Amber, you're asking about Gun Barrel City. I mean, it does. I mean, it is headed that direction. Yeah. So I would expect it to be in Gun Barrel City in the next hour or so. And again, I mean, we've been talking about this, that, eventually we're going to see a more organized line come through or come together, probably across our area. What we have is we have the storms off to the west, but what you notice here is you notice how right here we're starting to get a little more southeasterly motion. And then obviously we have this line here. Eventually we will see all of this come together for a more organized line that will head southeastward. There's the ring alert for the severe thunderstorm warning. You see, all of these other things are alerting me to the severe thunderstorm warning, and it's been a while now. So, it's been a minute. Adrian, you're asking about Joshua. We've got storms headed our way. There's not really much more to say there. They're not there yet, but they're on the way. So expect, those gusty winds here in the next several minutes. I'm going to put the cyclone port in Glen Heights up. Again, Cyclone Port is a service that we can use to measure weather conditions in one place or another. Sometimes they have cameras. South Metro Weather, we may have some news to break on those in the near future. So, check that out. But we'll break that news when we can. So, Nathan, how far south will the front make before the afternoon round of strong to severe thunderstorms? I don't know. There's not really a way to know exactly where it's going to stall out. It may make it south of our area. It may stall out in our area. Right now, I think it's probably, well, I don't know. I mean, I want to say it's going to stall around the Waco area, but it could go through there. It could stay north. I don't know. It's hard to know exactly where a front is going to stall. So I'm Nathan, I'm really honestly not sure about that answer. Jamie, has it weakened from what we thought last night? Not really. If anything, I mean, it's coming in earlier than we thought. So again, right now, and I know this is your absolute favorite thing to hear, but we're kind of in a wait and see pattern to see where is this thing going to get more organized. What is that going to look like? Because we have the storms to the north and the storms to the west that are starting to show signs of kind of getting together and getting more organized together to be the one line that we're expecting to move through. But when does that happen? Not too sure. Once they get more organized, that's when we'll start to see a more organized gust front, the stronger winds, that kind of thing. So hard to say. Heidi, story, is it going to hit Italy? Just got the Fox WAP notification. Italy is not that. See, that's another thing. We talk about the confusion of the severe thunderstorm warnings with an app. If you're in Italy, you're not included in the severe thunderstorm warning right now. You can see that the severe thunderstorm is actually north of you. I hate to rant on this, but I mean, again, that's why Weather Call is so great. It's going to go specific to your address. Sounds like WAP is maybe just going by the county, but Italy is not included in the severe thunderstorm warning right now. You may be later, but you're not included in a warning at this moment. So just kind of keep that in mind. Let's see. Is it just heavy rains? I mean, yeah, mostly heavy rain. There's some small hail out there. And really the main issue right now is going to be those gusty winds. Cal asking, when do I think it's going to die down in the Collin and Denton County areas? So it really, over the course of the next half hour to an hour, things will be calm. I mean, things are already starting to calm down a little bit in Denton County, Collin County soon after that. Now, you're probably still going to have some rain, lightning, and thunder for a while, but the strongest activity should be calming down over the next several minutes there, because you are seeing the heavier activity move southward, and things will generally taper off there. So it's not going to be immediate, not going to be real soon, but we're getting there. Amanda, what's the blue? Sorry, just logging in. So if you're looking at the blue south of the line, that's all kind of air clutter. So it's, dust and bugs and things that the radar is seeing, because the radar beam is hitting the cap and then getting diverted downward, where it's just seeing all the junk and gunk we got in our air. So that's what that's seeing. So just to bring your attention again, for everybody that is new to the stream, good morning. I know it's a rude awakening here at 2:45 in the morning, as I sip some coffee. So let's see. Andrew just started getting light rain in Waxahachie ahead of the system. So some of this could be reaching the ground then. There it is. Ding. Love how that happens. Sometimes right ahead of one of these systems, you're going to get enough lift that it just starts popping up. So in Ellis County right now, so we do have some of these. We do have right there near Waxahachie, near Waxahachie, east of west of Palmer there, some little showers that just popped up. And then Grays Prairie there over in Denton County, west of Denton, Kaufman. I'm sorry. So yeah, that's what we're seeing there. So little showers popping up ahead of the line. So that's always a possibility. So rain falling now in parts of Ellis and Kaufman counties ahead of the main line, but the main line is not quite there at this point. All right. So that said, though, yeah, Jamie, on a holiday. I know. I'm sorry. I can't control it. I'm just here to call balls and strikes. So you can see the leading edge of the winds here, right where that green is moving, and it's moving at a pretty good pace. It's actually kind of outpacing the storms at this point. So that's interesting. But you can see that it's pulling all of this activity southward. So, heavy rain starting in Arlington and Irving and at Love Field up to Garland, also over into downtown Fort Worth. So if we look at the winds here, high res velocity, again, you can see those winds moving southward. So that's our gust front that is progressing southward. So that's where things stand there. Again, we're going to keep looking at the Glen Heights cyclone port. This is a weather station that is going to let us know what those winds are looking like. So we'll keep an eye on the cyclone port there in Glen Heights for that report. And Darlena, thank you so much for signing up for Weather Call. That is an awesome thing. And people wonder what's the angle, how I benefit. I do get a share in what I sell. I'll be transparent about that. It's pretty small. I mean, it's pretty daggum small. However, my best, if you want to look at a benefit, if you want to find a way that it benefits me, when you get the call, that tells you to, tune into my streams. So if you want to find an angle that it benefits my brand, it tells you to tune into my live streams. So, you can do that, but for me, it's mostly just it fits my mission of trying to keep you informed. Josiah, let's see. Good morning, Kevin. Are we looking at anything tornadic? I'm in Kaufman. No, not right now. We're not looking at anything tornadic in this line. Really not much of a setup for that at the moment. And there's Terry jumping into the chat there. Can't sleep. Well, no, neither can I. Well, I could if I tried, but, storms. This coffee, I don't know what's going on with it must be my coffee maker, but this coffee is not tasting good. It's fantastic coffee, but, I don't know what happened to it. What time will the storms get to Ennis? In Ennis, I would say in the next hour or so. That severe storm warning is upgraded for 65 miles per hour winds. Let me see. Yeah, so about 5 minutes ago, I was just getting ready to look at that too. A couple of things. First, yeah, that severe thunderstorm warning, they have increased the wind speed with that slightly from 60 to 65 miles per hour. So things are getting a little more organized here, and we are seeing them kind of bump up the warning here for greater winds. Now, again, if we get to 70 miles per hour, that's where we start getting into the higher risk for more damage. So yeah, 65, man, that's hard to see. 65 miles per hour winds. Again, they haven't increased the hail sizes. Really not much of a hail threat right now with this one, but the strongest winds are possibly going to peak at 65 miles per hour here. 65 to 70 even. Moving into Midlothian very soon. So that question about when will they hit Midlothian here very shortly. So a question about Delta, Hunt County. Man, you're getting really out of my area here. So, I mean, in Cooper, in Delta and Hunt County here, I mean, it's still moving through. So Cooper, Commerce, Greenville, it's not going to be too terribly long. Doesn't look like that's severe. So it's loud, it's noisy, all that kind of thing. But there's nothing severe going on at this time. Carmen, Whitney's going to be a while. Whitney's going to be another hour or so, hour and a half. Jamie, how fantastic would it be if 7 Brew were open 24 hours? Just throwing that out there. So yeah, we were just talking about Whitney. So yeah, I mean, we're looking at this moving into Whitney probably in the next hour and a half, maybe. Gonna be a little longer for Whitney just because of the way that this is oriented, but you know, it's moving. It just moved through Burleson, getting them ready to move into Alvarado, Joshua areas. You know, eventually Cleburne. So, you know, going to be a little while before it moves into the Whitney area. Jamie confirming it's one line, then we are done with this one until later ones. So Jamie, that's what we were talking about. Is I'm unsure how long this first round is going to go on. Now, the most intense part of this, yes, we'll move through and then we'll be done with the most intense part of it. But we could, you know, still see showers and thunderstorms on the back end of it. So it's hard for me to tell you an exact, you know, ending time and that kind of thing. Let's see. Ashley, are we going to get anything bad in Italy? I mean, the whole area right now, we're watching for damaging winds, possibly some large hail, that kind of thing. The winds are going to be the greatest threat. This severe thunderstorm warning that doesn't include Italy right now is... Let me see. Italy area, I mean, you're not in the warning right now, but the warning that is there was up to, you know, 65 mile per hour winds possible. So we are looking at these storms, the wind threat intensifying here. Katie Evans, the timing for Maypearl in the next 30 to 45 minutes probably. Heidi Story, this may be a dumb question. Is there a difference between the tornado sirens and the sirens for strong winds? No, there's not. It's the same system. But again, they used to be sounded pretty exclusively for tornadoes, but the North Texas Council of Governments came together, created their take on the criteria, and added very large hail and you know, destructive winds, which again is like 70 plus miles per hour, and hail golf ball or higher, I think. And you know, they would sound the outdoor sirens for those, but it's the same thing. They're all outdoor warning sirens. So they're sounded for destructive winds, life-threatening, essentially it's life-threatening weather. So life-threatening winds, life-threatening hail, in tornadoes, because really any tornado is life-threatening. So that's what those are there for. They're outdoor warning sirens to be paid attention to in an outdoor situation. You can see if I put this back into motion here. Ooh, that's too much. Okay, you can. Am I still getting 14 frames on this? 7. I only want 7 frames. There we go. Okay, so you can see showers popping up across parts of Ellis and Navarro counties here. So those are ahead of the line. This is not the main line, just ahead of it. So David Hatley, if it's all the same, I would just as soon see these storms miss Rice. I know there's a lot of folks wanting this to miss their area. But unfortunately, this is going to be a widespread, broad coverage event that's going to impact most of our area. So, that's just kind of where we're at. Brecca, our storms projected to be bad tomorrow. So we'll get these storms now. Later on this afternoon, more storms are possible. Afternoon, evening hours, we could get another round of strong to severe storms. And then from what I saw, unless things have changed and I just haven't seen the updates, but early Tuesday morning looks like we could get another round of strong to severe thunderstorms. Hard to say, though. Yeah, Mayor Galaviz, you're right. We're going to need the rain come August. So the good thing with all the rain that we've gotten so far is that we are looking at no drought conditions generally in our area. So that's a big plus, especially as we start getting into June, July. We will take the lack of drought conditions. Of course, it takes like one extra day without rain to be in a drought all of a sudden. I mean, that's just the way everything is in North Texas. So unfortunately, we'll be seeing that change fairly quickly. So watching for the increase in winds at the Glen Heights Municipal Center, which is where this weather station is that we're looking at right now. So just curious to see when we see that change. And it looks like those winds are just starting to get there. So we'll see those winds pick up in Glen Heights here shortly, and that will give us a more direct kind of update on information. Thank you, James, for your Cash App donation. Greatly appreciate that. Nathan, look at storms, mineral wells moving east, southeast. Yeah, so that's what we were talking about earlier, Nathan, is we see the storms north of us moving south. We see the storms in the mineral wells area moving southeast eventually, and we're already starting to see it. I mean, if I do this, let's do 14. You can see that everything is gradually starting to come together, right? So we're going to see that progress more and more to where all of this starts to coming together as the front moves southeastward, and all of this will be moving forward. As this gets more organized, I expect the damaging wind threat to increase, which is probably why the National Weather Service upgraded this severe thunderstorm warning to 65 mile per hour winds possible. So that's what I'm expecting to see over the course of the next several minutes. I'm trying to fix something on the phone here. Okay. Yeah, my email on my phone is all of a sudden categorizing things and throwing me off, so I had to tell it no thank you. So let's look at the update on, no update from the weather station there in Glen Heights, so we'll have to see what that does. Aubrey said the wind is picking up in Midlothian and Venus. Yeah, so you're getting this outflow boundary here, and if we put that up, it looks like the winds are not really that intense along the outflow boundary right now. You'll get a little bit of a wind shift, but the stronger winds, again, are staying on the back side of this. So we'll continue to monitor that, of course, as we go through the next several minutes here. But yeah, you're going to get some gusty winds ahead of that. But really the biggest wind threat, I think, is going to come, as I've been saying, when the storm, the whole line of these storms, the whole complex starts to get more organized. And again, we're seeing that here because you see it here, and then obviously there's a piece here, but eventually all of this farther south will just be one. I don't know if it'll be by the time it gets to Cleburne and Waxahachie, but eventually farther south, this will all be one complex and one line, one more organized line. And that will be when we start to see those more intense conditions. So I'm just kind of making sure I'm staying current on all your questions here. Yeah, I think I'm caught up. So, yeah, no change with the should see an update fairly soon from that weather station. So I'm curious to see what it reports. So, wind speed report in Arlington was 57 miles per hour, 57.5. So that's just barely below severe weather criteria. So there's also, I didn't mention this earlier, but there is also a flash flood warning that is in effect for Dallas and Tarrant counties, really from Dallas and Fort Worth northward. So that is in effect right now. So flash flooding is expected there. I will say that I usually expect the urban centers to have a bigger flash flood threat than any of the more rural areas, because those urban centers are depending so much on, man-made drainage. They can't always keep up. So that may be why we're seeing that. And these storms are not, they're not moving terribly slowly. I don't doubt they have a lot of rain in them, but that might be why we see that so easily issued there in the Metroplex and kind of those urban centers. Are we expecting, Kevin Perez, are we expecting any hail in Waxahachie? Could be some smaller hail, but I will say that for the most part, right now, I think we're kind of more focused on the probability of damaging winds. I mean, there may be some small hail, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of hail at this time. And let's see. Carmen, thank you so much for the Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. If we look at the hail, yeah, I'm not really concerned about hail. We have some of that near Mineral Wells, but that storm is still kind of a lone storm by itself. So as we see these come together, I think that's going to generally kind of lessen that threat of damaging, or lessen the threat of hail. Won't take it away, but make it a little, lighter. Michael Harris, you're asking about Forreston, same as the whole area. We're going to get that outflow boundary first. That'll kind of give you a gust of wind, and then farther north we have the complex of storm centers generally coming together. I mean, if we look across a broad area, you can see that we have that whole line coming together, and all of that will proceed southeastward in a more aggressive way over the course of the next few hours. Something from YouTube, for Waxahachie, we'll have a risk of tornado or need to have safe spot ready. So again, not really looking at much of a tornado threat right now, especially right now with all of this being very disorganized. So not really looking at a tornado threat at this point, but I mean, you always need to have your safe spot ready. I mean, that's just a given, but doesn't look like you're going to need it anytime immediately soon. Aubrey, in between Midlothian and Venus, is getting windy here. So yeah, I mean, again, you've got that outflow boundary moving through. So it's not necessarily that you have the storms moving through, it's more or less you're getting those outflow boundary winds. But yeah, the storms aren't very far behind you. Yeah, Arlington Airport continues to report 57.5 miles per hour. It's almost looking like that might be an error, though. Lynn Ortega, the risk of tornadoes is generally low. Going to be more of a kind of straight line winds situation. So not much in terms of rotating winds, but definitely some straight line winds as this complex moves through. And put that back into motion for you. And of course, we do have little showers and thunderstorms. Not really seeing any lightning from these yet, but showers, at least in parts of Ellis and other counties here. So you can see that near Palmer, moving into Ennis right now, over towards Gun Barrel City there. So, got some showers popping up ahead of the main line. That's not the main complex, but they're out there for sure. Carmen, you're asking, what is there a chance it will miss Whitney? Probably not. The farther south you are, the more likely you are to get the more organized lines. So I don't think I can give you a whole lot of assurance in Whitney. I'm pretty sure Whitney's going to get the storms as they continue to move southward. So I'm not really able to rule them out. My kids are in Tyler at church camp. Will this affect them too? Eventually, yes, they will get some storms in that area. In the Tyler area, but it's going to be a while. It'll be closer to probably mid to late morning, I think, before Tyler gets anything. Sue Viner doesn't look like a very noisy storm. I mean, there's plenty of lightning out there. If you look at this storm, you look at the radar loop here, there is plenty of lightning out there. So it'll get your attention. It'll get your attention as it's moving through. Laura saying loud thunder in Bardwell. So you must be getting that thunder from that storm near Ennis. That one must be getting a little louder here. So Josh, looks like the line out by Mineral Wells is moving due east. If that's the case, does that mean 2 rounds of storms? So not really. We're more likely, as I've been saying, to eventually get this whole line to come together. So I'm expecting these to kind of get more organized together. So I'm not really expecting that to cause 2 rounds of storms so much as it will kind of join up with this, and overall the whole thing will become one complex that moves southeastward. Rudy Roo, are the weather cats awake? And not really. I think they're all asleep. I don't think any of them are in here. So, Patty Lynn, is there hail in this one near Palmer? So not at the moment, but I mean that one's doesn't look like any hail. Whoa, sorry about that. Doesn't look like anything near Palmer. At least hail-wise. Heavy rain, going to be some lightning and thunder, but not seeing hail in that storm. As we've been saying, this is not really much of a hail threat at this point. more of a damaging wind threat. But again, that's from the storms up north. What's moving through Palmer right now is just a little, thunderstorm that popped up ahead of it. Yeah, so what you're getting in eastern Ellis County right now is just a shower little thing by itself. This is not this is not from the main complex of storms. That's still up north of us. This is just little, showers and thunderstorms that are popping up across Ellis and Navarro counties, Henderson County as well. So we've got little storms that are popping up. Got little storms that are popping up ahead of the complex there. But the main line is still up north in the Metroplex. Hasn't quite made it south of us yet. Or south of there. Looks like there's a power outage in parts of Midlothian there. Probably going to be due to those winds. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this and I continue to see reports from where the storms are moving through right now, and winds are still sitting right at or just below 60 miles per hour. So we haven't really seen the increase in winds yet from this storm in this area, at least not on the leading edge. We've been talking about that cold pool that appears to have developed behind the main line of storms, or kind of on the back side of them. So that's, again, going to be parts of, that's going to be Keller, Flower Mound, Corinth, McKinney up that way. So if we look at the velocity here, yeah, I mean, we're still seeing some of the stronger winds on the backside of it from Euless up towards Corinth. So that's where some of the stronger winds are right now. But we do, again, have those gusty winds along the leading edge of that storm. And we do have the heavier storms now moving into parts of Benbrook, looks like towards Mansfield, southern Dallas, up to Rockwall. So that's where that line is coming through, and it's going to continue to make its way southward, following that outflow boundary. And eventually, like I say, all this stuff to the west will kind of become part of this line, and all of this will proceed southeastward together. Let's see, Tom reporting winds picking up and temperatures dropping in northern Red Oak. Yeah, so I mean you've got that outflow boundary that just came through. So nothing new from the Cyclone Port weather station in Glen Heights. Tinsley Taylor tornado risk is low, not zero, but it is low. This little storm moving up towards, really through the Ennis area, moving up towards Palmer right now. Not a severe storm, but it's probably making some noise out there, bringing just a quick little downpour of gusty winds. Okay, so hearing power outages in the Mansfield area as well. Jen Cold, the severe thunderstorm warning is only until 3:30. Do I think it's going to be extended? Yeah, I think they'll issue a new one farther ahead. So they'll probably issue a new severe thunderstorm warning fairly soon, moving from Cleburne to Waxahachie on down through Hillsborough and Corsicana, the rest of our area. So yeah, they'll extend that new severe thunderstorm warning. So, I mean, if you look at Ennis, You can see that most of Ennis, really everything south of Garrett, is not inside. Michelle Burleson, this is your question. Is the alert supposed to have went off for Ennis already? It wouldn't have gone off yet because Ennis, at least most of Ennis, that area, is not included in the warning at this time. So Michelle, other day it never did. I got an email, which was weird. So if you you have to make sure you're differentiating between the watch and the warning. If Ennis never was included in a warning, you never would have gotten a call. If it's a watch, you'll get a text or an email. So you got to make sure that you kind of differentiate between the two. So Shannon McKenzie, what about that one coming from the north? I mean, if you're talking about this, yeah, I mean, we're looking at this is the line of storms that we're watching here. So this is all of the green, line that's moving south. That's your outflow boundary. And then, yes, that's coming in from the north. Those are the storms that will continue to move south, and southeast. Lindsay, Gun Barrel City, yeah, you're getting that little storm that's popped up there between Malakoff and Gun Barrel City. Yeah, so several storms are all popping up ahead of this activity. Not uncommon, but the main storms are still moving in from the north. Let's see. Fleetmaster Michael from YouTube, can the storms in Henderson go severe? They can. I mean, the ones that are there now look like they're intensifying pretty quickly, so those could become severe. And then I imagine there will be a severe thunderstorm warning, probably including Henderson, for the storms up north as we keep going through the next, couple of hours or so. And a report from Longview, yeah, raining cats and dogs. Yeah, Longview, you have a thunderstorm that's popped up and moved into that area. Kimmy, your ceiling is leaking from all the rain. I'll tell you, Synergy Roofing has you covered. Synergy Roofing is the best folks to call to get an inspection on that roof. Let's check that out for you and make sure that roof isn't leaking anymore, because that can be a big, big pain. So Kimmy, check out Synergy Roofing, rather. Get their information. What I'll tell you, so Synergy Roofing, take down their phone number. So if you've got, a leaking roof, that's who you can talk to, and they'll get you fixed right up. Morningstar VRC from YouTube, do you think there's anything to worry about in Red Oak? See, and that's such a subjective way to ask it. I mean, different people have different levels of concern with the weather. I'll tell you, I'm not looking at a tornado threat, but we are looking at the possibility of some strong winds in the Red Oak area. Bobby Jones, how much rain? Again, like we said, 2 to 4 inches. I mean, there could be more than that, by Saturday morning. We do have that flood watch in place, from now until early Tuesday morning. But I would say realistically 2 to 4 inches of rain, unless you're getting some of those more persistent downpours, in which case it could be more. Yasmin, will the second round be as bad? So the next round of storms we're looking at is going to be probably this afternoon, evening. And so, they could be strong to severe as well. I mean, it's hard to compare them to these storms. We kind of have to wait and see what modality we get. If it's another line of storms, probably going to be similar to this. If we get more discrete storms, could be looking at a higher large hail and possibly tornado risk, but hard to say at this very moment what we're expecting there. Carla, estimated wind gusts watching from northeast Kaufman County. I mean, all the reports that I've gotten have been right around 60 miles per hour in terms of that peak. Alvarado here, temperatures dropped drastically, and wind picking up pretty good. Yeah, you've got that outflow boundary moving through, so that's going to bring that cooler air and those increased winds. So anywhere you're getting those gusty winds ahead of the storms, yeah, you're going to get a bit of a drop because that's rain-cooled air that's moving in. Emily Rayburn, any hail threat so far? So again, we're not really looking at much hail across the area. Primary risk is going to be those gusty winds. Jen Cold, how quickly do you think this round will be out of Midlothian? It's hard. Again, it's hard to say. I mean, the strongest winds will probably be out of Midlothian in the next hour or so. But beyond that, I mean, we're looking at, it's going to be at least raining there for a while. I mean, it could be, into the morning, later the morning hours. Lisa, do you know storms will return tomorrow evening? We're going to, yeah, that's what we've been talking about is when we get to, okay, so hold on. So Lisa, what we've been talking about is the storms. We've got another round of storms possible later this afternoon. Of course, it's Monday. So later this afternoon, Monday evening, another round of storms possible. And then early Tuesday morning. Beyond that, hard to say. It kind of depends on where a stalled front stalls out and sits. So we'll have to get a little closer to kind of get a better idea of that. Shannon is Ferris expected to hit hard. Again, gusty winds, same as everybody. Gusty winds possible with these storms. Heavy rain, a lot of lightning and thunder, that kind of thing. Low tornado threat. So that new severe thunderstorm warning that came up was for parts of Parker, Hood, Somerville, Bosque, Hill, and Johnson counties. So it's for kind of the western side of all of this. And you notice that it's, that storm in Mineral Wells moving southeastward. Now it's even more of a southeast push. So Carmen, I'll get to Everman in just a second. But yeah, I mean, that's the new severe thunderstorm warning. Again, 60 mile per hour winds, hail just under severe limits. So again, mostly a hail threat. Carmen, now you're asking about Everman. So, I mean, the Everman area, yeah, I mean, you've got the showers and thunderstorms are moving through there. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning for about another 5 minutes there. So, same as everybody. Again, gusty winds, lightning, thunder, heavy rain, but no, not really much of a tornado or a hail threat at this point. Nathan, I've kind of addressed that question already. You asked about the line near Weatherford. I'm not really expecting that to hit us twice so much as it's just going to be part of this complex as it moves south. Good morning. Let's see. Diana, you're asking about hot in Louisiana. Unfortunately, I don't cover the Louisiana area. I'm in north central Texas. Let's see. Matt Dickerson, what do you believe will happen in Tellico shortly? Apologize, I just woke up. So, again, in Tellico, you've got this little shower and thunderstorm near the Palmer area that popped up. That's moving northward. And then moving southward, we have those storms from up north. Same thing. Gusty winds, lightning, thunder, I mean, it's the same for everybody. It's hard for me to figure out how to say it without just repeating. And I hate to repeat it for all the people that have been here for a while. But if you look at the chat, I mean, it's generally the same question for every area. As people wake up, they're tuning in, wondering the same thing, and they've missed me say it already. So it's hard to kind of address everybody and not be repetitive at the same time, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I mean, I'll just kind of give an overview here. I know there's a lot of people just waking up, but the gusty winds that are moving through, the initial ones that just moved through Cleburne, moving into Waxahachie now, that's the outflow boundary. That's not the so. Okay, I'll answer that question in a second, or suggestion, I guess it is, but. That's the outflow boundary that's moving through Cleburne and Waxahachie right now. And then the storms are farther behind all of it. So that's where we're looking at, Burleson, Mansfield, Mesquite. Those are the storms that are moving through. And as I said earlier, we're looking at all of this. Eventually, it'll all kind of come together and become a more organized line. And that's when we'll start to see the wind threat and the hail threat increase. But for right now, it's fairly unorganized, so mostly just heavy rain, lightning, thunder, that kind of thing. Mayor Galaviz, you're saying you got to get the graphic that shows the time it will be in certain areas to cut down on the repeat questions. Mayor, if I had the budget to get what the Dallas media stations have, I would. What I do have from... Okay, new severe thunderstorm warning here, so I'll get to that in just a second. Let me show you what I do have here. Okay, here is Weather Call Next Gen with that new warning. So we'll do that while I take a breath here.
This is Kevin Crouch. The National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning for your location for a storm capable of producing damaging winds or large hail. We recommend seeking shelter in a sturdy building and staying away from windows. Repeating, you are in the path of a severe thunderstorm. This message comes from Weather Call Next Gen.
Okay. So there's the Weather Call, or excuse me, that was Weather Call. So if you want to sign up for that, we've put the link out there. That gives you a call anytime there's a warning, a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. You get the call with my voice. So that's where that call we just did is Weather Call. That's my voice letting you know that a warning has been issued. But Mayor, this is what I'm talking about. So this is what I have. I can't scroll through that list constantly, and it's very small. So I'm a little limited in what I got. And you said how much you need, sir. I'll donate to the cause. I mean, if you want to give me a WFAA, Fox 4 budget, I mean, that's, I mean, to get that software, it's going to be more of that. So that's going to be one of the things I look into this summer is what is it going to take to get a graphic like that? Because I completely understand. So by the way, on YouTube, that was not an AI voice. That's my voice. I recorded that, but it doesn't sound as great on the phone, especially I'm not in the greatest service area myself. So I'm sure in other areas it probably sounds better, but that's my voice on the Weather Call. But Mayor, I would love to have a graphic that says what time it's going to be there. And maybe that's something that I can figure out on my own. But again, to get the software that you're used to seeing on the TV, that's going to be a lot of, that's going to be a ton of cash, unfortunately. So, lots of people saying that they're getting their weather call here. So I appreciate you guys being set up. The new severe thunderstorm warning here, I do want to talk about that. That has been rated for 60 mile per hour winds. So they've downgraded that a little bit. This line is taking its time getting organized here. And so it's not quite organized at this point. It's the same thing with the other warnings. So you essentially have two severe thunderstorm warnings right next to each other for 60 mile per hour winds. So that's what we're seeing right now. Thank you so much, Abner, for your Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. So these two severe thunderstorm warnings, the hail threat is below severe limits at this point. That's kind of where they have things. But for the winds, it's right around 60 mile per hour winds. That's what's expected right now. That's what we've gotten reports of. So that's kind of what we're expecting the peak winds to be. 60, maybe 65. Josh, looks like the outflow boundary is falling apart. I mean, it could be. It's still there, but eventually it will, and that will allow for this line to kind of pick up pace and that kind of thing. So we'll see as this thing continues to evolve. Yep, so several people getting the call. So yeah, they extended that farther southward, and that goes until 4:30. So this warning that includes parts of Ellis, Navarro, Henderson, Kaufman, Dallas, Johnson, and Tarrant counties. I mean, it's covering several there. Pretty large warning. That goes until 4:30. Both of them do. So yeah, both of these warnings are until about 4:30. So for about both of these severe thunderstorm warnings go for about another hour. Rita Flores, you see lightning, just tuned in outside of Waxahachie, close to Maypearl. So, I mean, again, when you're saying will it be really bad, that's all relative. It's hard for me to answer that question because it kind of depends on your definition of bad. Again, 60-mile-per-hour winds and small hail possible with these storms, in addition to the heavy rain, lightning, and thunder, that kind of thing. Okay, Steph Brewer, I watch my own radar along with your radar. It's 6 to 8 minutes behind, but I can get an idea of how close it is and its intensity. What are your thoughts on it? Are you asking my thoughts on my own radar or what? I'm not really sure what you're asking there. I'm getting some things updated on the notifications and things updated on the phone here. Give me a second. Okay. Okay, the WFAA My Own Radar app. I thought My Own Radar wasn't WFAA. Hold on. Now I'm getting mixed up. Let me look at that for just a second so I can answer that question. So there's my radar. Let me look a second. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking at okay, so you're looking at WFAA. That's going to be My Own Radar. That's the product that Steve McCauley built, I think. I mean, it's I don't really know what to say about it. I mean, it's another radar product. When you're going through the internet like that, yeah. So I see it. I mean, it's not something I would use because it's not. I mean, for one, it looks like it barely shows our area. I mean, it shows Cleburne and Waxahachie, but that's it, northward. So it's not very great for covering this area. But I mean, it's a product. I don't really know what to say about it, other than just it's there. I mean, it's not as detailed as what I'm seeing, but this is a separate product that you download, and this is Radar Omega that I'm using. So it gives you more customization. It's easier to move that around. Doesn't look like the My Own Radar on WFA's website allows for much. Winds picking up by Baylor. Let's see. Semi-dumb question, but on Waxahachie, will we see any spin-ups in general? Not just in my area, but tornado threat's low. I mean, I can't rule out a little spin-up, but right now it doesn't look very likely. Jenna Michelle, you got the weather call alerts. Glad you're signed up. That prompted you to tune in. I'm glad. That's what it's there for. That's the best thing. It gets your attention. Says, hey, pay attention. Storms are happening. So glad you are all signed up and ready to rock and roll. Lost power Northridge neighborhood of Midlothian. So yeah, hearing some power outages, especially as the storms now are starting to move in. So you can see in Ellis County here, there's that storm that's ahead of all this in Palmer. And then now we're starting to get the main storms from up north that are moving in. So yeah, I mean, again, if we look at this and those storms off to the east, or off to the west rather, that were moving due east, you're starting to see how they're coming together. All of this is coming together to be one line that is going to continue to move on to the southeast. So that's generally what we're watching here. And as it gets more organized, we will be seeing those winds increase, right? So that those storms will intensify. So those warnings as we go farther southeast, we will start to see those intensify and get more, higher ratings in terms of the winds and those kind of things. Marcia Page, what can Blooming Grove expect? The same as what we've been advertising here. Strong storms moving in the next, hour or so. Damaging winds are going to be the primary risk. Could be some small hail with those, along with plenty of lightning, thunder, and heavy rain. So that's what to expect for Blooming Grove. It's basically the same area, the same thing area wide. Yeah, winds picking up here on FM 66. Yeah, you're getting that outflow boundary. So it's not quite the storms yet. But that's what you're looking at there along 66 rather. Will this affect Sardis area? Yeah, I mean, it's going to affect all of us. I mean, if you look at it on the map, it's pretty clear where it's going. So yeah, I mean, it's moving right into the Sardis area. Good morning, Steve Colburn. Good to see you on the chat here. And getting thunder and currents, yeah. So I mean, Navarro County, you're getting these storms ahead of the main line. So you're getting those showers and thunderstorms before anything's really supposed to be moving in terms of the main event that we've been watching for. But that's already arrived there. So you guys are getting a start, getting an early start here. Let's see. Kim Young on YouTube. Morning, Jimmy. Just found your channel. So Jimmy is a sponsor of ours. I'm Kevin Crouch. I'm the host here. So Jimmy is just a sponsor of ours. Must be so early for you guys. It's 9:39 here. Yeah, I mean, it's been a long night for everyone. Yeah, well, I mean, we just got started we've almost been on the air for 2 hours now. Doesn't seem like it. We've been having so much fun. Kind of surprised they haven't issued a downstream watch yet. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're probably working on that at this point, but they're getting there. They've had a lot of warnings to work on, so I'm sure the watch is coming next. Just as a reminder, we are under a watch until 5 a.m., but as I mentioned, when that watch was issued, I do expect there to be a new watch that will be issued downstream from that. So I'm pretty sure, Kim Young, no problem there. You're good to go. I can see why it'd be easy to get those mixed up. So, Jimmy is a lot more handsome than I am, though. So, I'll take the compliment there. So, yeah, all of this activity moving southeastward, and you can see, more storms. More storms back near Breckenridge. So there are more storms popping up farther farther behind this line. So, I mean, I do expect more storms to be, prevalent behind this complex. So it could be, we could be looking at storms throughout the day today. It's going to be hard to tell exactly what to expect. But the main kind of three events, the main next two really, are going to be later this evening and tonight. Could be storms at that point, and then could be another round early Tuesday morning. So National Weather Service in Fort Worth just putting out word. Their take on it is this morning's thunderstorm complex will continue moving southeast. However, additional thunderstorms may develop along a stalled front early this afternoon. Some storms could be severe. So afternoon, evening there. I've been saying late afternoon, early afternoon is probably more realistic when you think about it. But primarily, when we're heated up very well. But yeah, I mean, the front being stalled, again, it's going to be hard to say where that front's going to stall, and that will largely determine where those storms will be. And also what kind of storms we'll get. So we'll have a better idea of that, hopefully, going through the day. And I'll be working on this throughout the rest of the day. I will not be sleeping anytime soon. Angela, what do you mean when they say behind the line? So you can see the red here. That's the line. That's the main line right now. So where you see the red and the purple and that kind of stuff, that's the main line that's moving through. Nathan, they are having a mesoscale discussion right now at the SPC. So those mesoscale discussions they're not really it's not a meeting. It's not like they're having a discussion. That's something that they issue. It's like the area forecast discussions. It's the product itself is the discussion. That's not signaling a meeting or anything that they're having. I'm sure they're discussing it, but it's not, the discussion itself it's them discussing it with the public, so to speak. So the mesoscale discussion, it's not a meeting they're having. It's the discussion that they're having. They're discussing it with you through the medium of those text products. Lizette had to go to the back porch to bring the daughter's water table and small pool inside for the wind. Yeah, so yeah, anything outdoors you don't want blowing away in the wind, definitely secure those. Just lost power in Granbury. The wind is strong. We never lose power near the hospital district. Hopefully that's back soon. Just gotten here, just checking on my hometown. Wouldn't it be great if the could accurately predict each location every time? I mean, yeah, I guess so. Carmen Holden, hold on. Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if you could accurately predict each location every time? I mean, sure. Yeah, it'd be great to have a crystal ball and be able to say, exactly what's going to happen when and where. But, we do what we can. I can't always tell you exactly what time it's going to get there, but I try to give you a pretty good idea. Night storms are the worst. Shalom Picard. I've had my fill. I'm ready to get a break. Mary Jane Medlock. It's pouring in Indian Hills area off of Brown Street. Is it raining right now in Waxahachie? I guess so. I guess the next update we're going to see, you can see in Waxahachie that darker green popping up. So that we're probably going to see some red there in the next radar update here. Let's see, how long is it going to be? Maybe a minute. So I guess in Waxahachie we're going to see there's probably a little storm that popped up there, and we're probably going to see that darker green blow up into some red here in a second. And it's interesting, we haven't gotten any rain here at the studio yet, so that's just south of me in the Indian Hills area. So that's interesting. Haley, I did see your comment about lost power in Granbury. So in the Granbury area, I mean, you have a thunderstorm, you have a strong storm, potentially severe storm in that area. So that's what you're dealing with there in terms of losing power. So we never lose power in the hospital district. Yeah, I did see your comment. And again, that's, you've got that storm coming through. You've got some gusty winds moving in. And so that's probably the culprit for losing power there. Yeah, it looks like you got some gusty winds in the Granbury area. Really stretching from Granbury on towards Rio Vista. Definitely some gusty winds moving through that area as those storms move in. Raining at 287 in Ovilla Road. Yeah, so I mean everything's picking up in Ellis and Johnson counties here as this line starts to move in. I'm in an apartment. Should we get somewhere? So Haley, you're not really looking at a tornado threat or anything at this point. Well, let me look at this. Okay, so we'll take a look in Granbury right now, and I think, come on. So in the Granbury area right now, I mean, we're kind of looking here, and at this moment, I'm not seeing rotation there. A lot of people are going to look at that and say, "Hey, look, a hook." I'm not seeing anything that really has me too concerned with that at the moment here. We're still getting there's a little bit of shear there just because we have, the gusty winds that are moving away from the radar there, and then we do have winds that are moving due east. So we will keep an eye on that. I think that's one of those kind of narrow windows where you might get some rotation. But other than that, I think for the most part, think for the most part, I'm not looking at any kind of rotation right now. So I don't think you need to vacate the apartment or anything right now. Not really going to advise that at this point. I think you're okay to stay where you're at for the moment here. Yeah, just getting more reports of strong winds area wide, and I mean this is a dual view here. So on the left, you've got the radar as we normally see it. That's all the rain, and then on the right, that's the velocity view. We've got the why is my chair is already going out. I'm losing altitude here. So just saw lightning and heard deep thunderstorm. Must be low. Charlotte, not really. I mean, that's just kind of the way it sounds. So, yeah, Haley, normally Granbury's a little outside of her coverage area, but at this point, I mean, I'm really might as well include Granbury and Glen Rose in the coverage area as well as Bosque County, because we cover it. I mean, we generally cover it anyway, but yeah. So, and what you're seeing here in the Granbury area is, for one, I mean, you've got the winds on this western. Let me get that out of the way. Let me try again. These winds here along that storm are starting to fall apart, and that's because the winds that are coming in, and you can see those are probably 60, 65, I would say 65 to possibly 70 mile an hour winds here in Hood, Somervell, and Johnson counties here. And so, you know, those winds are breaking up the eastward winds. So ultimately those are falling apart. And where I've been talking about, we're going to see this whole line eventually, come on, work with me here. This whole line, you know, all the eastward progress here is falling apart, and we're going to start seeing all of this moving south-southeast together. And when you put this into motion, that's exactly what you're seeing near Granbury. So those eastward moving winds are starting to fall apart as the whole thing starts to move southward. Mallory, I'm not seeing any hook echoes right now. I mean, there may be a hook-shaped echo, but it's not. I'm not seeing anything that is a rotating hook at this time. There's some gusty winds there in Erath County, but I'm not seeing anything that constitutes a rotating hook. So you can have a hook-shaped echo, but if it's not coupled with rotation, it's not a, you know, rotation indicating hook echo or anything like that. Yeah, so just, you know, hearing a lot of, you know, the winds are crazy. If you want to tell me about the winds or any kind of weather conditions, give me your location because that's going to be a big help. So a lot of people, I mean, you're asking, Fleetmaster Michael, you're asking about what's going on with the velocity over currents. Nothing. I mean, there's so many people that they'll get on velocity and just look for any spot where red and green are together. It's so much more complex than that. So don't let yourself get so excited over any spot where there's red and green, because there's so much more to it than that. I mean, you really have to have training on reading radar to get an accurate reading. So I don't see anything going on in currents that's of concern on there's no rotation or anything. Just because there's some red and green close to each other does not mean there's rotation. There's so much more to it than that. Yeah, so just lots of people getting those wins right now. Texas Earthwatcher, with storms like this, the straight line winds, do you know if the Ellis County Storm Trackers ham radio guys are out tracking these storms, or only if there's a chance of tornadoes? So the ham radio guys, the storm spotters in Ellis County are, I mean, they're all strictly volunteer, and they go out kind of when they feel like it, right? So generally, if there's a tornado threat, you're going to get more of those guys out in the field. A straight line wind threat, they're not going to find that attractive enough to go and you know, actually do storm spotting. So there's not really probably going to be anybody out there for this. I wouldn't expect any storm spotters to be out there at this point. So the so the severe thunderstorm watch goes until 5 a.m., about another hour here. They've canceled Collin, Cook, Delta, Denton, Fannin, Grayson, Jack Lamar, Montague Wise. So basically, north of Dallas and Fort Worth, they've canceled from the severe thunderstorm watch because that main line has pushed through. So that's just kind of an update on how things are trending. Behind, north of the Metroplex, they've canceled that severe thunderstorm watch. So wind and hail reported in Alvarado. Do you have is it just small hail? What are we looking at there? Okay, just now hearing thunder here at the studio. Okay, so yeah, wind speed of 23 miles per hour, gust of 28 miles per hour reported at Glen Heights. So there we're seeing those increased wind speeds, cooler temperatures, lower dew point as well, with the storms moving through. So hold on. Texas Earth Watcher, people don't know that it's legal to listen to ham radio like I do without a ham radio license. Again, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's legal to listen to storm spotters. That's yeah, of course. Okay, hold on. Just lost the chat. Man, I'm trying to do something. This is what happens when I try to do Matt's job. Matt is so much better at moderating things, and I am terrible at it. So now I'm trying to go over here and do this thing, and I am terrible at it. I've just messed everything up. Let's see. I'm trying to kind of do something here. So hang with me, folks. I've got a user, I've got a commenter here that I've got to, unless he's already if he's already doing it, then maybe we're good, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to assume that he's up this early. Yeah, so let's see. Give me 1 second here, folks. Let me get caught up. Lots of comments coming in. Let's see. Currently in an RV in Glen Rose. Yeah, so winds, I mean, we could see winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour. Most of the wind reports that we've had at this point have been right around 60 miles per hour. We had one of 65 earlier, but since then it's really been topping out at about 60 miles per hour. That's kind of consistently what we've seen. The severe thunderstorm warning for Dallas, Ellis, Henderson. So this eastern warning has been canceled. So sounds like the winds have subsided there a little bit, which is good news. Let's see. Okay, Fleet Master Michael, last comment, Canton just told me my storm is nothing. I mean, Canton has the same chance anybody else does across the area. It's the same expectation. You have a storm moving up there. Could be some heavy rain, small hail, gusty winds. I mean, it's not severe at this time, but the rest of that line will be headed your way later this morning. Let's see. I had a question about, so where is it headed to Scarborough? Going to get hit? I'm in a tent there. So Scarborough Renaissance Festival. Yeah, I mean, you've got the storm moving in fairly quickly. Again, with these storms, I would expect winds typically 30 to 40 miles per hour. The severe thunderstorm warning was canceled there, so we're probably just looking at, winds don't look that intense there. So it looks like you're probably going to avoid the strongest winds there at Scarborough, but heavy rain, some lightning and thunder, those kind of things headed your way. Demarius Garcia, if you're waiting to see if there's a tornado threat or not, there's not a tornado threat at this point. Any tornado threat is going to be low, but I'm really not concerned about that at this point. So if that's your criteria for going to bed, then you're good to go. Texas Earth Watcher, I've actually heard about rotation alerts before it gets to you weather folks. Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to Storm Spotters, you're going to hear their chatter. What the Storm Spotters do is they report to the National Weather Service. National Weather Service evaluates whether they're going to issue a warning or not. So, I mean, you're not necessarily getting any kind of exclusive insider information or anything. I mean, that's just the way the process works. After this rain, are we getting more in Kaufman? I mean, yeah, there's more behind all of this. If we'll have more on the forecast tomorrow or later today, really later this morning, on what to expect. Talon, no tornadoes right now. No hail headed to Mansfield right now. And Texas Earth Watcher wasn't talking about rotation right now. They're just talking about rotation that they've heard about on the radio in the past. So there's not any rotation right now. So we'll take a look at the hail across the area. I think that's kind of what I expected. So there's probably some hail falling in the Granbury area right now. If we take a look at this storm, this one is picking up its intensity right now. So this would be probably the only notably severe storm at this point, or notably intense. Everything else is going to be, I don't think there's really a lot of hail out there. Really, the biggest hail threat's going to be in Granbury. We take a look at the winds here. The greatest winds appear to be eastern Johnson County right now. So that's where the stronger winds are. That storm near Granbury, I'm not really seeing any rotation with that. So that's a positive there. But that storm's going to continue to move to the southeast here, and we'll get more of a southeast train as it becomes a part of the rest of this storm system. So yeah, not looking at any kind of rotation, not really looking at a tornado threat at this point. Mostly a wind threat with this activity. So as you notice here, when we look at this broader kind of look, we're looking at these storms kind of weakening here, at least from Cleburne to Waxahachie on up towards Kaufman up to Sulphur Springs. Really, this part of the line is kind of in a weakening state here. I think it's getting reorganized. Now, we have the storm near Granbury that does appear to be at least a marginally severe storm. Some, pocket change size hail, gusty winds with that. Gustier winds in eastern Johnson County. But I think we're going to see this line kind of get reorganized there. So I think as we watch it, it will be picking up intensity kind of as we go forward. Haley, I see your comments about Stephenville. Just a heavy thunderstorm headed there, moving through there right now. It's not a severe storm at this time. So as this whole line moves through, and you can kind of pick out your town and see where things are in terms of what's going on right now. But the line is really the severe threat for most of our area has subsided at this point. Somebody on YouTube saying pocket change sizes of first. I mean, not really. That's a pretty common phrase that we use in the weather business here. When will winds subside in Joshua? I would say in the next, 30 to 45 minutes or so, things will be calming down in that area. But the storm in Granbury, that will probably start to weaken here fairly soon. But again, the line, I think, is going through. The line has lost some intensity, but it's kind of going to reorganize. And so we will see those storms pick up pace and pick up intensity as they continue to move south and southeast. So Linda, is this a fast-moving storm? When will the wind subside? Well, it kind of depends on your location. But, I mean, generally all of this will be out of our area by, I mean, it's 4 o'clock now, so it'll be out of our area probably by, 8 or 9 a.m. Could be earlier than that, but we could see more storms going forward from there. Margarita Love, the WAP doesn't show this. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, different weather apps are going to look differently. This is a different system that I'm using. So generally, just depending on what app you're using or what service you're using, they're going to look a little differently. Lloyd asking if this is an all-day event. So it's going to be kind of off and on today, Lloyd. I mean, it's going to be we're looking at this round moving through. It's a little unclear how much of the day will be rainy. I was talking to Crispin about this earlier. It's hard to know exactly what to expect through the day. We could get a lull in the activity between now and when more storms pop up this afternoon. But it's just hard to tell because we kind of have to wait and see. We got to wait and see how far south the front goes, where does it stall, and then how early or not do the storms develop once it's there. Fox 4 was talking about rotation in Granbury. I'm not seeing that myself, so they might have seen that, but I have not. So I'm not sure what Fox 4 is seeing, but that's their report, and this is mine, right? So. Is Fox 4 live on the air right now, or what? What are they doing? Or, well, I guess Good Day just started, huh? But yeah, I'm not seeing any kind of rotation in Granbury right now, so not sure what they're seeing. So Evan's on. Normally Evan is he's a good mentor of mine. So if he's seeing rotation, then I'm wondering what am I not seeing? He could have been looking at the winds as they were earlier. He could have been looking at that, and maybe he interpreted that as some broad rotation, but I'm just not seeing that, especially now. I don't know. I'll have to ask him about that later because I'm not seeing any kind of rotation there. Maybe he was just seeing some brief broad rotation or something. Maybe I guess he interpreted that differently. But okay, hold on. Is Fox 4 saying rotation, or are you looking at the WAP and it has a rotation indicator on there? Because that's two very different things. The WAP uses the same it's the same algorithm and API as the Weather Channel, and theirs is kind of wacky. So if you're looking at the WAP and it says rotation, then that's not always accurate. So you kind of have to, be cautioned about that. So just be careful when you're looking at apps and the little logos or little markers it likes to put on there. Those are not usually accurate. That's a computer trying to interpret radar, and it just never goes well. Araceli Rojo, we're probably looking at, I would say peak winds right now are 40 to 50 miles per hour, if that. I mean, the winds in Hood and Johnson counties may be closer to 50 to 60, but, you know, that's going to be the highest at that point. So, yeah, so Evan didn't, so I'm not sure what they're referring to about, I'm not sure, Nathan, what you're referring to about rotation in Granbury from Fox 4. Sounds like Evan didn't say that, and I don't think that he would, because he and I would have been looking at the same thing. So not sure where you got that there. Fox 4 News Channel DirecTV. Yeah, I'm not sure. Nathan. I'm not sure what you're referring to there. I don't know, but yeah, I can personally say haven't seen any rotation in the Granbury area. So the severe thunderstorm warning has been updated. They've taken they've taken Parker County out of that, but we still have Hood, Somerville, Bosque, Hill, and Johnson counties, or at least part of those counties, included in that severe thunderstorm warning. Still looking at 60 mile per hour winds possible, 1-inch hail, that kind of thing. Mallory McLaughlin, is there a weather app you'd recommend that has a pretty accurate radar? I mean, Radar Omega is what I'm using right now. So that's what I would recommend. Do you think I could go to sleep? I live in Denton, Texas. Yeah, everything's moved south of Denton at this point. So I don't see any reason why you couldn't go to sleep in Denton. Go get you some rest. Not really seeing much hail here. The hail that I was seeing was near the Granbury area, and it looks like that's probably weakening at this point. So, yeah, that hail threat for the Granbury area weakening. Could be some small hail there in eastern Hood County, headed towards western Johnson County, but really not expecting much there. And it looks like the wind speeds are probably starting to taper off there too. This whole line is, at this point, looks like it's weakening right now. So that's the main line we've been watching. Looks like it is weakening at this time, but you know, that's going to be that line. This will eventually pick up pace and pick up intensity again as it continues to move southeastward. It's just working on getting more organized at the moment. Wind gusts wrote, okay, so several people near Scarborough Fair reporting gusty winds out that way. Yeah, it looks like there's some gusty winds that are kind of moving in from the west there. So some of those gusty winds from Johnson County, that area, starting to kind of spread eastward a little bit. So yeah, you're going to get some gusty winds there west of Waxahachie. Hearing that there's small hail reported there too. I'm not seeing much of a hail core there, but could be some small hail included with that. But yeah, probably not severe winds at this point in western Ellis County, but there are some gustier winds. I mean, we're probably looking at, let's see, take a look at that. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, the winds, I mean, we could be, you know, looking at 20 miles an hour or so, but not severe winds at that point, not severe criteria at this point. Let's see, more hail just picked up in Alvarado, off and on and off. Yeah, so all of I mean, everybody's talking about hail. Give me hail sizes here. I mean, we just talking pea-sized hail. What are we looking at? Extremely gusty winds, just 2 blocks off the courthouse. Pamela Moss, are you in Waxahachie or where? Allie Riley, can you go to sleep in Corsicana? I mean, it hasn't really moved into Corsicana yet, but I will say that, I mean, if you're signed up for weather call, it'll call you if there's a warning, a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning issued. So if you want to go to bed, but you still want to be alerted if there's a warning issued, that's my recommendation. I mean, there's nothing in Corsicana right now. It's going to be a little while before that gets to Corsicana. So I would say, hey, I mean, if you have weather call, you can go to sleep and sleep soundly, and then if you have a warning, then it'll wake you up, right? You just leave your ringer on your phone. But other than that, yeah, I mean that's the thing. If you've got weather call, then you're good to go. Otherwise, it's kind of dependent on you. But there's not a big threat of not a big threat of tornadoes or anything like that right now. But there are increasing winds in this storm right now. So looks like increasing winds near the Glen Rose area, increasing winds in Ellis County. So I think we are starting to see this line very possibly start to get organized again, and could see that intensifying here quite soon. So Alejandro Galaviz, you're asking what's considered safe. I'm not really sure what you're asking there. For Waxahachie, will there be any threat of hail? We're still shaken from the March storm. So not seeing anything like what we saw in March at this point. Any reports of hail have generally been pretty small. Alejandro, yeah, I mean, I don't. Everybody's definition of what they consider safe is, I mean, most people when they say, "Hey, can I go to bed?" They're asking, "Is there a tornado or not?" I don't see any tornadoes right now. So if that's your criteria for, "Hey, I stay up or I go to sleep," then sure. But that's that's I don't know. I mean, it just depends on what you're seeing. If this is what the Metroplex is getting the way it sounds in April, I'm not looking forward to the bigger one. Okay, let's see. Just to put this back into motion, and again, we're seeing these winds picking up across the area here. And just to show you that, we'll put the velocity on, and you can see just in the past 7 frames, we're getting the increased winds moving into western Ellis County. Winds are increasing near Glen Rose. So yeah, this line is starting to pick up the pace again, and we're starting to get those stronger winds picking up. Let's see, how long is this storm expected to be over Glen Rose? RV and my anxiety is through the 3 kids in the camper. So this storm in Glen Rose, I mean, things will be calming down in the next probably 30 to 45 minutes here. So that storm should be clearing out of the Glen Rose area here in the next several minutes. I mean, it's not, Glen Rose isn't getting the most intense of this storm right now. So I don't expect it to last that much longer. We're not looking at a tornado threat at the moment. Straight line winds, I mean, those can be damaging to an RV, but I'm not really looking at anything particularly destructive at this moment. And Allie Riley, intensity in what areas wind tornado threat? Not really looking at a tornado threat right now, just straight line winds. 50 to 60 miles per hour is what I'm looking at. Does the increased winds mean the storms are moving faster? I mean, it could. Doesn't always, but it could. I'm sure the storms will pick up speed once they've picked up pace, or once they've gotten more organized, I should say. Those mean the same thing. But as this line gets more organized, we'll see it pick up speed. But it's probably the same 30 to 35 miles per hour. Ashley Cook, when will the whole storm be gone? So, I mean, again, that depends on your location. But, generally I expect this to be clearing our area. Let me just check one thing here. Yeah, I mean, 9 or 10 o'clock. But again, it depends on your area. But by 9, 10 o'clock, it'll probably be, okay, Ennis. So yeah, 9 or 10 o'clock, it'll be kind of out of our area. So that's when I would expect to say, hey, we're done, at least for this round, but more are possible going forward. Lonnie Ballard, near 287 in Ovilla and Waxahachie will we be getting heavy wind and hail? Well, I mean, the heaviest of this has already moved through that area, so things should start winding down. Just asking for 1 second here. Okay, let's see. Josh saying the Bardwell area looks suspicious. Just to note, what do you think? What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean, Josh. Very windy and heavy rain in Ennis. Yeah, so the winds are continuing to increase along this line. So yeah, we're gonna continue to see winds, picking up pace, especially on the leading edge of this storm. But yeah, so the Ennis area, you're kind of experiencing these storms starting to intensify again. Somebody on YouTube, Kevin, how would you compare this year's storm season to previous years? We're not done with it yet, so we got to wait until after, and I can compare data. Josh, saying it looks like a hook echo. Well, there's not rotation with it, so there's not really anything to say about that. So, not really concerned about anything in that area right now. And Matt's talking about broccoli trees. I'll have to go back and look at that conversation. If I had a trip planned out in Glen Rose today, should I cancel? Was going to be a Dinosaur Valley. Well, I mean, it's Victoria. I don't have a whole lot of detail from you. But yeah, no, I mean, I would. I don't really want to say cancel. I mean, I don't want to tell you to cancel anything just because I don't know a whole lot of detail. But what I will tell you is that, I mean, it just depends on if you're. I don't know what time you're looking at going, but I mean, more storms are possible later today is what I can tell you there. Matt saying, Kevin, my neighbor desperately needs Liberty Tree Service. Well, Matt, I can definitely get their contact information over to them. They'd be happy to help. Ashley, Evan reported we're only having 30 plus mile per hour winds. His wind radar must be broken. No, I think Evan's pretty well straight. So I think for the most part across the area, 30 miles per hour is probably likely. There's some areas that may be having stronger winds than that. I would say one of those pockets might be southeast. Well, really, I mean, that's what radar is indicating. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, 30 to 40 mile per hour winds is probably where we're at. We're really not as intense as it may sound, it may seem, and the perception may be that it's really intense. I mean, we're not seeing any particularly dangerous or damaging winds at this point. I'm not hearing reports of debris or anything. So 30 to 40 mile per hour winds is probably likely. I think Evan's right on the mark. Now, I've said 50 to 60 mile per hour winds are possible, but that's because we have this warning here that indicates that those are possible. So I'm not I don't think anything's wrong with Evan's equipment. He's got better equipment and better toys than I do, so that's kind of that. Linda, how will the weather be from 8 to 9 a.m. from Waxahachie to Arlington? I'm assuming you're asking about your commute there, so I'm just going to tell you that we may still have rain in this area, but the heavier stuff should be southeast of us. Maypro is getting pounded by rain and wind. Anything I should worry about? I live in an RV. So, again, heavy rain. There's some gusty winds out there, but not anything particularly damaging in our area right now. And tornado threat, again, is quite low. Frankie, any hail threat for Godly? Not really right now. I mean, we can look at the hail threat, and it's really diminished. There was a hail threat west of Godly, but at this point, not really concerned about that now. So you can see Godly right there on the radar. I mean, could be some pea-sized hail, but really that's going to be about it. So that's about all we're seeing there. But as I mentioned, this line is starting to get reorganized here. So we are going to see increasing winds here, just kind of gradually over the next, several minutes. So as this all continues to move southeastward, we will see this line continue to get more organized. That's just what we're going to see. So as we go through the next several minutes here, or the next few hours, really, we will see this line get more organized as it continues to move on to the southeast. Just as a reminder, we are under a severe thunderstorm watch until 5 a.m. That may be extended just because I don't think that this is going to completely clear that area by 5 a.m. If anything, there will be a downstream watch issued that includes probably Stephenville to Glenrose, Cleburne, Waxahachie, Kaufman, and then southeastward. Because that'll be the vicinity where those storms are at that time, and they will continue to move on to the southeast. Tyler, Brian, are you expecting anything severe for the rest of the morning now until 9 a.m.? Just want to know. Well, again, Tyler, give me your location. Because anything asking, hey, what's the weather going to be like? I got to know a location in order to give you that detail. Jamie, I'm sorry that it's exhausting. I wish I could help you. There's not, much I can do to help you there. Trust me, I'm exhausted too. Haven't slept much the last couple of nights, so I get it. So, okay, Terrell. Kind of outside my area, but Terrell's about to start calming down anyway. So the heaviest of this is about to start moving out of the Terrell area. So yeah, I wouldn't really be concerned about anything in the Terrell area going forward. Alexis, you're asking about Navarro Mills. Nothing has moved into Navarro Mills yet, but it is headed that way. So just expect, some gusty winds, some heavy rain, lightning, and thunder to be moving into the Navarro Mills area in the next hour or so. Let's see, Charlie, raining hard at all, raining not hard at all, even though the weather app is showing thunderstorm. I don't see anything. How is Prosper area looking? So again, if you're looking at an app, I don't know which app you're looking at. I don't know what it's showing. If you're looking at the little markers that the app puts on there, that is a computer trying to interpret radar. A computer doesn't know anything, right? It's a computer. It takes a human being looking at radar, knowing the quirks of radar to really give you the best information. So, can't really give you much in terms of what one of those is saying, but let's see, you're talking about Prosper? We're talking about, what is that, Collin County, Denton County? Not seeing it come up here, but, that's outside of my usual area anyway, but yeah, not really sure what app you're looking at or what it's showing there. So let me get caught up here. Lots of new questions, so let me get kind of caught up on what we're looking at. Really, most of them I can probably answer pretty quickly. So here's kind of the rundown of what we're expecting in the near future and the rest of the day. So these storms will continue to move farther to the south. Yeah, so everybody give me 1 second here. We've got these storms moving to the southeast. These will completely clear our area to the southeast by 8, 9 a.m. Obviously earlier, the farther north and west you are. So those will continue to move through. Later on today, early this afternoon, really from about noon to, from noon on almost. And again, it's hard to give you too much detail on this, but this front that's moving through will stall probably near or south of our area. That will instigate more storms this afternoon. Those could run into the evening hours, could be another round of strong to severe weather. And then could be more storms Tuesday morning, could be another round of severe storms. Now, the thing is that how much rain or what are we going to see in between those? That's hard to say. I think that as we go through the rest of the day today, I think it's going to be off and on showers and thunderstorms for most of us. That includes the Metroplex, that includes our area to the south, down towards Waco and on. So it's going to be hard to say there's going to be rain at this time. I think it's going to be possibly kind of an off and on day, and then we could see storms ramp up again this afternoon. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Somebody was asking about Wichita Falls. I mean, it's going to be generally the same thing, right? It's going to be, off and on storms possible, and then going on from there, that's when we'll be looking at the probability of storms picking up in intensity this afternoon. But we'll just have to keep watching that. You'll just have to keep looking for updates from me throughout the day. So new severe thunderstorm warning. Yes, I saw somebody mention that until 5:30. So that's going to be that severe thunderstorm warning from Glen Rose to Cleburne on down southeast. So including Meridian, Clifton, Morgan, Whitney, and Hillsborough, Itasca, Blum, on from there. So parts of Johnson, Somerville, Bosque, and Hill counties. So that's that new warning in that area. And that is also, again, where we've seen the stronger winds. And when I say stronger winds, that's generally going to be, 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts at this point. So not really severe at this point, but I think the National Weather Service is just expecting to see those intensify as they go forward. So not terribly concerned at this point, but it's worth paying attention to. But again, the severe thunderstorm warning, I mean, that's rated for 60 mile per hour winds. So I don't think we're seeing 60 mile per hour winds right now, but I think it's at least possible. And thank you, Matthew, for your Venmo donation. Greatly appreciated there. Well, Adrienne, you're asking about Bedford. I mean, if you look at the map, Bedford is behind the main line. So just, rain and some thunder there right now. Could be more thunderstorms later today. It's just like I explained, the main line is moving south, but there could be more activity farther behind. So, folks, I'm going to take a quick break here. I'm going to grab a quick bite to eat. I haven't eaten anything this morning, and we're closing in on 3 hours of coverage. So I'm going to step away and grab a quick bite to eat here, but I'm going to leave the radar up. Everybody just kind of hang tight and give me a chance to, again, get a quick snack here, and I will be right back with continuing coverage of these severe storms. So I will don't think I'm leaving you just high and dry here. I will be right back shortly with more coverage of these storms as they're moving through. All right, we are back. I just needed to step away and take a quick little break here, kind of shake my head and get a little bit of a breakfast snack going. But we're good to go for nearly the third hour here of coverage here of these storms that are coming in very early in the morning. And trust me, I am not thrilled about the early hour either. I know many of you are very over that. But yeah, I mean, we're going to be looking at, let's see. Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. So these storms that are moving through, there are, and I, there's a lot of people asking, hey, can I go to sleep? Here's the thing. We're not, it's hard for me to say because I don't know, um, what your comfort level is with going to sleep, right? I mean, are you waiting? If you're waiting for a tornado, I don't see that happening this morning. So I really don't think that's what we're looking at. But you know, if you're waiting for heavy rain, gusty winds, and lightning and thunder, I mean, we got plenty of that. But at this point, yeah, we're not looking at any kind of tornado threat at this time, not that I can see. So I'm not really concerned about that right now. So yeah, I mean, if that's your line of hey, I feel comfortable going to bed, go for it. Um, Waxahachie's died down. Some may head to bed after eating a cosmic brownie. That sounds pretty good right now, actually. Just outside Waco. Gonna move my trash cans to the top. Yeah, and like I say, anything outside that you don't want to blow into your neighbor's yard, uh, definitely take care of those things. So here is the situation as we have it right now. We have that severe thunderstorm watch until 5 a.m. That's only another 20 minutes. That is until 5. Is it it's still until 5? They haven't extended that yet, have they? Just double check here. That's still until 5 a.m. Yeah, until 5 a.m. So they'll have to either extend it or issue a new watch. We'll see what they do. But, you know, as we look across the area here, you can see that the greatest momentum is with the storms moving into Bosque and Hill counties from Somerville and Johnson counties. And that's where we had that severe thunderstorm warning. So the National Weather Service could see that that was going to start picking up pace. And we do have wind speeds increasing. I don't know that we are at severe wind levels here at this time, but that warning goes until 5:30 a.m. The watch goes until 5, so they'll have to extend that watch at some point. But yeah, as far as the warning, that goes until 5:30 a.m. So about another 50 minutes from now. That warning, not really warning much of hail. There's not really much of a hail threat. I think there's some sporadic, you know, pea-size hail, small hail that's out there and out and about. But we are looking at, definitely looking at increasing winds in Johnson County right now. Thank you, Denise, for your Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. And thank you, Stephanie, for the Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated. All of that is always greatly appreciated. Looks like people are looking for that here. So folks asking about Weatherford. There's not much going on in Weatherford right now. I mean, you can see it there on the map there. Some showers and thunderstorms west of there, but not really anything too severe. Lots of people asking about your towns. Give me a second here. Powell, Texas. Let's see. Powell, Weatherford, Seagoville. I'm just going to leave the map up. I mean, you know, that's going to pretty well cover most of that. So, let me check. Is there a new warning? I'm not seeing that. Hang on, just 1 second here. I think I'm getting late information. Or just hadn't been anything since then. Okay. Just double checking some things here because... Okay. All right, so let's see. There's a chance we won't get any additional watch, right? Wouldn't there be an MD by now alerting of a percent of a watch? Not necessarily. I mean, if they're extending an existing watch, that's possible. But I don't know that they're going to do an MD for a new watch. Not always. Not necessarily. So they're going to cancel the northern part of this warning rather for Somervell and Johnson counties. There it goes. So it's just Hill and Bosque counties now. So that's what we're looking at. I mean, in Powell, Navarro County hasn't really seen anything yet. Now, I think Navarro County is just starting to get the gusty winds, but the storms themselves have not really moved into Navarro County at this point. Radar scope is showing 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. So I guess I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing 80 mile an hour winds near Walnut Springs. Yeah, I'm not really seeing that at this point. Let me check something out here. Okay, well that explains that. That setting was off, so no wonder I was seeing the wrong information. Now, however, I'm still seeing 50 to 60 mile per hour winds near Walnut Springs. I'm still not seeing 80 mile an hour winds. Give me 1 second here. Yeah, I'm seeing 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in Bosque and Hill counties between Blum and Morgan there, but I'm not seeing 80 mile an hour winds. Now, I'm looking at KFWS, Wade, and that's going to be the closer one to that location. If you're looking, let me just check. If you're looking at KGRK, yeah, I see what you're seeing, but that's looking extremely high in the storm. I mean, that KGRK is way too far away. That's not looking anywhere near the ground. So, Wade, you're going to have to use KFWS if you want any kind of good information on anything near that area. So, just to kind of orient you there. Now, we do have a tornado warning, not in our area, but that is over north of Jacksonville. And that's way far away from the radar, so we probably wouldn't get much information. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. Wow, look at that east of us. My goodness, one north of Jacksonville, one north of Lindale. So these storms east of our area that are moving northeastward got tornado warnings on those. So that's quite interesting. Not in our area. I don't see any rotation in our area. But yeah, that's wild. So, and Wade, you're saying look just east of Morgan. Again, I'm not seeing 80 mile an hour winds, so we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one. So the winds, we'll take a look at the winds here specifically. That's still not showing there. Give me 1 second here. If it will work. Come on, what are we doing here? Okay. 1 second here, folks. Let me get that to display the right thing. So, okay. I mean, I'm looking at Morgan. I see 67. So the highest that I've seen is like 67 miles per hour. And again, this is still looking fairly high. This doesn't necessarily mean that the winds at that level are still hitting, 67 miles per hour. This is a bit of a distance away from the radar, so we're looking higher up in the storm. So I mean, I'm still going to say around 60 miles per hour. I'm not seeing anything that says 80 miles an hour, 80 mile an hour winds. I'm also not really seeing anything that looks like rotation to me. So not really concerned about that. But yeah, I mean, there are going to be some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds in these storms moving into parts of Bosque and Hill counties. Morgan, I mean, some small hail is possible, but not seeing any kind of large hail anywhere. Not really seeing. This isn't really a large hail situation, at least at this point. Alejandro Galaviz, where are people getting these outrageous reports? I mean, he's saying he's seeing it on Radar Scope. I'm using Radar Omega, so I'm not really sure what he's looking at. I'm not sure what Radar Scope is showing, but this is just what I'm seeing on Radar Omega. So I don't know. He's using a different app than I am, so I guess we'll have to see if that's a substantiated report by damage or something like that. But for the moment, I'm not seeing that in that area. And yes, I do see the warnings over in East Texas. That's outside of our area, so I'm not really covering it. But there are those tornado warnings east of our area there, so not including any area that we cover. And okay, yeah, so Fleetmaster Michael on YouTube, I mean, it's east of Canton, so I wouldn't really be concerned about those tornado warnings in Canton because it's east of you, so doesn't look like anything really right now. And we'll put this back into motion for you. Heavy rain continues across Johnson and Ellis counties. Ellis County, the heavy rain is kind of just hanging out there. So we may be transitioning into a flood threat for parts of Ellis County if we can't get the rain that is there, because it's kind of caught between the southeasterly motion in Johnson and Hill counties and the northeasterly motion to the east. So, I mean, all of this is kind of just hanging out there. So there may be some flooding concerns in Ellis County. I'm looking at my rain gauge, and it doesn't look like we have particularly high rain rates at this point. But if that changes, there could be a need for some kind of a flood alert at this point. And I'm still expecting to see a new severe thunderstorm watch issued at some point. So we'll have to see what that looks like, because the severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect now only has about another 10 minutes. So we'll have to see what they do. Crystal, when will the storms be over in Grandview? I mean, everything should be calming down in Grandview starting in the next 20 minutes or so. I mean, there may still be some thunder there, but overall, I mean, I don't expect that Grandview has much more to go, because the heaviest part of the storm is going to continue to move to the southeast out of that area. Araceli asking, what time should the storm pass Carl's Corner? I mean, it's just about to move into that area now, and then it will probably be moving out of there in the next 45 minutes or so. That would be my guess. 45 minutes to an hour. As far as the heaviest stuff, I mean, you could still be getting rain and thunder and stuff there after that. Okay, when will it calm down near Forreston? So again, kind of unsure there. I would say in the next couple of hours, but near Waxahachie, you're kind of caught between the northeasterly flow and the southeasterly flow, so it's kind of holding the heavy rain there. So Forreston may take a little longer to clear out. So right now, the strongest storms are where we had that severe thunderstorm warning in parts of Bosque and Hill counties. Winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour, possibly between 60 and 70, and some of the stronger, the more intense parts of that storm. Doesn't look like much of a hail situation. Maybe some small pea-sized hail out there, but that's probably going to be about it. Wade saying they just added a caveat to the warning. Yeah, they're just noting that it continues until 5:30, which was where that was set. So that's nothing new has been added to the warning in Bosque and Hill counties. That still continues until 5:30. So they're just kind of stating that the status quo is in place. That that will continue until 5:30 a.m. Let's see. Somebody in JS, you said it's showing strong rotation between Blum and Whitney. I don't know what it is. Are you looking at the WAP or something, or some app somewhere that's saying that? Because as I've been saying, you can't always believe, or barely ever really believe, those little indicators that it tries to show you, because that's a computer trying to read the. Yeah, I see what you're looking at. That's yeah, that's the WAP. You can't believe that stuff. Those computers, they put those little indicators on there. They don't know what they're looking at. It takes a human being looking at that storm to tell you what's going on. That's a computer trying to give you that information. It's just, yeah, I love Fox 4, but they're using an app that has a computer trying to interpret radar. And those little indicators are, I mean, you got to be careful with that stuff. I'm personally not seeing that where I am. Certainly not that far back in the storm. And now it's gone. I mean, seriously, it's like it'll be there 1 second and then the next second it's gone. It's like, oh, never mind. My bad. So, I mean, it's seeing the strong winds there, and it's just deciding that there's rotation. That's what that indicator is. You can't do that, whether it's radar scope or the WAP or any of these where it puts those little logos on there. You have to be careful with that stuff, because I mean, the computer doesn't really know how to interpret that stuff. It takes human discernment to really give you a good, accurate reading on that. And I'm not seeing any kind of rotation right now, and at least not anything, whether anything reliable enough. Wade, you're asking, aren't those wind-induced indicators that show that due to wind speeds versus actual tornadoes? That's a little of an unclear question. I mean, you have to know how to read radar to really be able to look at it and discern where there's rotation and not. So I'm not really sure what you're talking about there, but I mean, you have to know how to read radar to really give an accurate, interpretation of it. Love Dan and Evan over Fox 4, but despise the WAP. Yeah. Will it be raining all day? So, Caitlin, I think we will probably get some breaks, but overall, I think that we will see. I think we could see some off and on rain throughout the day. So I think it's reasonable to expect more storms throughout the day. This afternoon, we may have to watch for more severe weather in our area too. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Amanda, so it's looking to linger approximately 45 minutes in Hillsboro. I mean, it's just moving into Hillsboro now, so I would say give it about an hour before anything is really calming down there. That warning goes for about another half hour, but I would say maybe give it 45 minutes to an hour before everything is calming down in the Hillsboro area. I want to look at this. Aiden, you're saying look at Natchez. I'm not really sure what you're referring to. I mean, if you mean Natchez, Texas, that's quite a ways east of where I'm covering. So unfortunately, that's not really in our coverage area. Should the wind stay below severe limits behind the main line? Yeah, I mean, if you're behind the dominant line here, I mean, you're pretty much out of the severe weather risk. And that they've been canceling the severe thunderstorm watch farther behind. Now, that's about to expire, interestingly enough. So the severe thunderstorm watch will expire here any minute now. So yeah, Aiden, we're in Texas. We're not covering Mississippi today. So yeah, we'll be out of that severe thunderstorm watch as of 5 a.m. And I guess they're not going to extend that. Maybe they're going to wait until this line gets better organized. I mean, that's essentially what we're seeing in Bosque and Hill counties. We're seeing what's to come, and that will continue on towards the Waco area. So I'd be a little surprised if they just weren't going to. I'd be surprised if they weren't going to extend that watch farther south and east. But I guess they may not. I'm not sure what they're going to do. But that severe thunderstorm watch, to my knowledge, is going to be allowed to expire. Yeah, looks like that's been allowed to expire here. So, Wade saying some apps will pop a tornado icon when it really is just... Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing, Wade. Anytime they see red and green next to each other, regardless of whether it's actual couplet or broad rotation or anything, they'll throw a tornado thing on there. Because it doesn't know how to discern what's noise and what's an actual couplet. So that's all that is. Nick and Melissa Stevens, I just came on. Is there any big hail in this storm? I'm in Milford. Not really. Not a large hail situation. Some small hail, but that's going to be about it. Let's see. Chad Myers asking about Lindale. That's east of the area that we cover. We cover between Dallas and Waco. Wade, I mean, yeah, I'm monitoring it. If you're, yeah, I'm watching the radar. I've got my eyes on it. And I know lots of people want me to look at Lindale, Texas. That's not what we cover, folks. South Metro Weather covers between Dallas and Waco. So I'm going to keep it kind of focused in on our area. I'm not one of these keyboard storm chasers that goes out and just covers whatever's going on. I'm covering a specific area, so I won't be looking at those areas farther east at this point. When is the worst going to hit Gun Barrel? So I mean, Gun Barrel City. I mean, it's. You're probably getting the heaviest of it right now because, again, you're on that main line. So as that continues to move southeastward, of course, in Gun Barrel, I mean, it may take a little while for that to clear out. It's kind of training there. So I would say give it another hour or so in the Gun Barrel City area before everything is cleared out. And I'm surprised that I'm just now getting a cat that's coming in here. Hunter asking, what else is Hatchie getting tonight? Well, I mean, we've got some heavy rain in the area right now, and then, heavy rain's possible throughout the rest of the day. So we'll just kind of have to keep an eye on it. This storm moving southeast through Hill and Bosque counties here. Winds are still probably around, like I said, 50 to 60 miles per hour. Not as intense as they were, but still some, pretty strong winds in that area. They're close enough to severe limits where they'll keep that severe thunderstorm warning in place, probably for the next, half hour or so, as long as that continues. They may issue another warning downstream if they think it's necessary. But at this point, as far as I can tell, the severe thunderstorm, there's the new warning. So the severe thunderstorm watch has been allowed to expire, even though we still have a new warning here. So not sure what the next move is for the National Weather Service here. So not really sure what the deal is there. But the new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued. That includes parts of Bosque and Hill, where it is now, and then McLennan and Limestone counties. So that goes until 6 a.m. So that goes for about just under another hour. And that's going to be, again, for rated to 65 mile per hour winds. So those winds have been increasing as this is continuing to move through Hill County. Been decreasing a little bit, but I mean, you can generally tell that the storms are getting more organized. So they're thinking that they may see those winds increase. And I want to check on something here. So one of the things we have to watch for is these little areas of just little spin up rotation. So let me just show you this. No, that's not what I want. Let me just switch over to velocity and show you this. So this is something that a lot of people are going to start paying attention to. And I don't mean, I mean people that, look at radar to try to find any minuscule sign of rotation. This here near Abbott, we'll keep an eye on that, but odds are in the very next, the very next frame, this could be gone. So we'll see what that does over the course of the next, several minutes. But this is the kind of thing that sometimes we have to pay attention to little things like that, because these little spin-ups can happen very quickly. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go forward in the next several minutes here. And you can see there is a little bit of a little hook there. So we'll keep an eye on this. We'll be watching that. But for the moment, we're just focused on the straight line winds that are the main concern there. But if we do have rotation trying to develop there, we'll see what that does over the next, little bit. And the National Weather Service, of course, will be monitoring that as well. Let's see. If you're wanting more. So yeah, lots of people on YouTube wanting us to cover the tornado warnings east. We don't cover wherever the tornado warnings are. We cover between Dallas and Waco. I think Texas Storm Chasers are covering those warnings right now, but for this area, we cover between Dallas and Waco. We are a regional company, so we're not covering the tornado warnings in another part of the state. That's not really how we operate here. So, we're not watching East Texas at the moment. We're watching our actual coverage area. And hearing the Gun Barrel City is getting hit pretty hard. So yeah, I mean, there's a pretty heavy thunderstorm there. Doesn't look like it's severe warned at this time. Mostly going to be lightning and thunder. I think that's probably going to be, most of the That's going to be most of the threat there. A lot more, I think, bark than bite. Whoops, sorry about that. And yeah, near Gun Barrel City, and this is this is at least closer to our coverage area. So just a couple of things to show you. Near, just on the east side of Gun Barrel City, near Eustis, there's one area of possible rotation, and then another possible area there east of Abbott. So those are two areas to watch. National Weather Service hasn't shown either of those as tornado warned at this time, but those are two areas that we'll have to keep an eye on as we go forward. It almost looks like Gun Barrel City, that rotation there. I almost wouldn't expect that to last very long if it is there. Here, let's see what the later scan, let's see what this new scan has. Let's see. Will the storm in Ennis intensify? No, I think Ennis is generally going to be weakening generally over the next, over the next, hour or so, as everything should continue to move kind of southeast of this area. And then Julie, good morning. Traveling from Ennis home to Houston. Will these storms follow me? So, I mean, yeah, this will be moving southeast where I haven't really looked at Houston weather, so I can't really tell you too much about that. So just looking at this, it looks like for one, this area is not really as concerning at this point, and looks like any rotation near Gun Barrel City is probably pretty broad. So not terribly concerned about rotation with either of those storms. I know that's areas that people were looking at. Gun Barrel City, like I say, I didn't expect that to last very long. So, and I know that there's a lot of people want me to look at farther east where the tornado warnings are, but we cover between Dallas and Waco, so we cover between the Metroplex and the Waco area. So we don't cover storms wherever storms are happening. We're kind of a different brand. We have a geographical focus area. So here are the storms that we have going through our area right now. As all of this moves to the southeast, we're starting to get more coverage in Navarro County. Ellis County still has a lot of heavy rain falling. Johnson County, things are finally starting to calm down there. But Ellis County, still some heavy rain falling there, and we're just under half an inch here at the studio. I'm not seeing really big rain rates here at this point, but I mean, it's enough that we're paying attention to it. And if we continue to get... more and more and more rain, then we may have to raise the flag for some flooding concerns. But at this point, we're not too terribly concerned about that at this time. Yeah, and I know a lot of people are going to want me to go farther east, but yeah, like I said, we are a brand that covers a specific area. So we're South Metro weather. Basically, we're south of the Metroplex, thus South Metro. So we kind of cover the areas between Dallas and Waco, where there's kind of it's kind of an area between media markets. So that's kind of how we've built this brand here. Just past 5 a.m., approaching 3.5 hours of coverage here as these storms move through, and we haven't really had much in terms of severe weather. We do have winds continuing of 50 to 60 miles per hour in Hill County. Really, everything in Bosque County has kind of subsided here, really kind of weakened. And so there's not a whole lot to write home about at that point. And moving towards southeastern Hill County here. So moving towards Penelope, Malone, Hubbard, and Mount Calm, and then towards Dawson. So that's what we're looking at in terms of what's in Hill County right now. And then we look over into Navarro County. Everything is moving in there for the first time. So the Killeen area, I mean, Killeen, little far south. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect it to weaken before it gets there, but I haven't really paid much attention to that because it's kind of outside of our coverage area. Carrollton, everything's moved south of there. So, just expecting rain in the Carrollton area. Leaving Dawson to Hillsborough for work. I mean, yeah, it's heavy storms in that area. So between Dawson and Hillsborough, you're going to be running into some heavy rain, lightning, thunder, some gusty winds as well. 50 to 60 mile per hour winds possible. So if you're making that drive, you'll definitely want to be careful. Right, Wade. Yeah, I mean, it moved into the west area, but I mean, I haven't seen that intensify or maintain intensity in any way, so I'm not terribly concerned about it at this point. I mean, it's there, but I'm just not seeing it. It doesn't look like it's maintained a certain level of intensity to have me concerned about it. Rachel, yeah, no tornadoes right now. There are no tornado warnings in our area. The only tornado warnings are well east of us, in the Lindale, Tyler area, that kind of thing. Let's see, Jack Johnson live where Johnson, Ellis, and Hill counties come together in the valley. We're showing around 6 to 10 mile per hour winds. Registering highest wind tonight at 22 miles per hour. Sounds worse, showing 1.17 inches of rain so far. Yeah, so I mean, the thing is that you can have winds of 20, 25 miles per hour that sound like a hurricane. So you can't always go with perception. I've done lectures about the difference between reality and perception and weather. It's really, really interesting. There are some, winters we can look at where we can say that was the coldest winter we ever had. And you actually look at the numbers and the winter as a whole was fairly mild, but then because of one event, i.e. February 2021, people will say that was the coldest winter we ever had. Well, it was actually on the whole quite mild, except for that acute event. So, that's just one example of that, but it's a really interesting topic to study. So let's see, 62 mile per hour wind gust, 2 miles west northwest, if I can say that correctly, of Whitney. Gust of 62 miles per hour. So yeah, I mean, upper 50s, low 60s in terms of the miles per hour for those winds sounds pretty consistent with what we're seeing on radar. So yeah, I mean, low 60s in terms of those wind speeds sounds about right. I think that's about right for that particular area. And you can see that all of this is moving southeastward, right? So all of this will continue to move that way. Ellis County can't seem to shake the heavy rain here. It's just going to keep on going. And behind all of this, I think we're going to see more rain throughout the day, maybe a few thunderstorms coming through. I think the severe weather threat will taper off once this line exits our area. I think after that point, we could very well be looking at more. I think we could be looking at more storms that will be focused in on being sub-severe, and then this afternoon, we could see another round of severe weather. Something I want to point out in Henderson County, kind of on the edge of our area of coverage, but it is, there is something where the National Weather Service has pegged this severe thunderstorm warning as the possibility of producing a tornado. They're not saying that one is imminent or one is occurring, but you can see near the Malakoff area, I think they're pointing at this area as just some broad rotation, and that's where we have things that they're saying we could see some rotation. Now you're looking at the velocity, and it's kind of hard to see that. You see how there's these clear areas, and it's just kind of not clear there. The farther you get away from the radar, the harder it is to see. So, and the closest radar is Shreveport. There's a big open space here. I mean, you can see just based on that some winds north of Eustis, but it's really hard to see that far out. There's kind of a dead zone of radars out there from what we can see. Now, I think the National Weather Service has access to more, but from what we have, it's kind of a dead zone. But all of that to say, we are looking at the possibility of a storm that could become tornadic over in the Athens area, probably northwest of there, but not happening at this moment. Jennifer, yes, we do cover Navarro County, and storms are moving into Navarro County right now. Nothing severe at this moment, but the line is definitely moving in there. So heavy rain, lightning, thunder, gusty winds going to be the main features there. Could be some small hail, but for the most part, you're looking at just, a sub-severe thunderstorm. It's going to be loud. It's going to be noisy. Going to be some gusty winds and heavy rain, lightning, thunder, but that should be about it. Ashley Roberts, not really seeing anything going on in Waxahachie other than just some rain and maybe some rumbling thunder, but that's going to be about it. I'm not really seeing anything else that has me too terribly concerned for that particular area. Fleetmaster Michael, you're asking, would that be a threat to Canton? I'm assuming you're talking about the storm near Athens, and it looks like it's going to stay south of Canton, so I'm not really thinking that will be a concern. So we'll put this back into motion for you. The severe thunderstorm watch we had until 5 o'clock has been allowed to expire, and there is a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Bosque and Hill counties that goes until, 5:30 here, so about another 10 minutes. Then there was another warning issued going farther than that until 6:30, but all of this will be moving out of the all of this will be moving out of our area again by, at this point, I would say, 7, 8 a.m. So hopefully that will continue to move through. Just checking a couple of other things that have come up here. I apologize. I am very tired. Haven't slept much this week, and it is definitely catching up to me. I have to go and nap a while after all this moves through. So I know there's a lot of folks in Henderson County that are jumping in, so let me just briefly cover that area. Right now, there's no tornado warnings in the Henderson County area. So just to let you know, there's not a tornado warning there. That severe thunderstorm warning was marked as, a possible tornado producer at some point, but I'm not seeing anything right now that is immediately concerning, but it's also hard to see. I can see some motion here, but it's hard to see. It's on the very fringes of what that radar is going to usually see. So not really seeing. Okay. Barefoot spread. I would appreciate if you would let me define what's South Metro, because Penelope is in our area. So do me a favor and let me handle the territorial conversations. Greatly appreciated. So this area, I mean, we are looking at some possible rotation there, but again, it's hard to see. We're looking pretty high up in the clouds. So it's hard for me to tell exactly what's what over there, but that is a storm worth watching. But for now, just a severe thunderstorm warning for that storm. And somebody was asking about Penelope. Somebody said that that's not our coverage area, but it is our coverage area because it is between Dallas and Waco. It is in Hill County. So the storm just moved into that area, and it's going to continue to move southeast. So expect some gusty winds. Some small hail is possible with these storms, but not really that concerned about that overall. So not really too concerned about that at this point. Just gusty winds, heavy rain, lightning and thunder, those kind of things. So that's what we're talking about. Thomas Miller, Smith County isn't really in our area. Same Travis Rainey, Lindale's not in our county. We're not looking at, or we're not really that concerned about, we don't cover East Texas. And because we are a more geographically based brand, I'm going to make sure that we are covering our coverage area there. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So Valley Mills, Texas, winds are strong. Outdoor furniture is getting blown across my yard. Yeah, so I mean, definitely. Many of us don't have power, so you're the news. Thanks for what you do. Well, I'm glad to help. So again, I know that there's tornado warnings east of us, but we cover a specific area: Ellis Hill, Johnson, and Navarro counties, and kind of immediately surrounding areas. I try not to venture too far outside of that, because what has made this brand successful is being able to focus on those areas exclusively and cover a storm, area to, pretty consistently, instead of having to cover 36 counties like the TV stations do. And then they're covering 36 counties. So I would have to cover like 5 different storms, and it would be nearly impossible to give consistent updates on those. So that's just kind of the way that works. So the line of storms that's moving through, the winds are not really picking up that much in this line. If anything, looks like they are weakening a bit. I assume that the watches right now, they haven't issued another watch yet, so surely the National Weather Service is seeing something that makes them not want to do that. And then as far as what we're looking at in Hill and moving into McLennan and Limestone counties, the winds are not as intense as they were looking earlier, so that's a positive. Heavy rain, lots of heavy rain, lightning, and thunder. And again, the marker for a severe storm is not how bad it sounds or how bad it looks. It's, 58 plus mile per hour winds and large hail. So that's, I say large hail, an inch or more in diameter. Those are your criteria for a severe thunderstorm. So just because it sounds crazy does not necessarily mean it's severe. So you have to understand, you have to remember that, we're looking at, there are official markers for this. There are actual, markers for what we consider to be a severe thunderstorm. And to my knowledge, there's no watch yet, so no new watch across this area. And I would assume that surely they're looking into a severe weather watch to be issued for, I guess, other parts of our area. I mean, it's I'm just not sure. I mean, these storms are not weakening enough, at least from what I can tell. Misty, you're asking, is the area of concern by Malakoff gone now? In a cabin at the lake with service going in and out. So we'll get back to Henderson County, just kind of cover that. Malakoff, I mean, you're getting some lightning, thunder, all those kind of things. As far as the rotation, looks like that is east of Malakoff. So if that's what you're talking about, that is moving out to the east there, moving more towards the Athens area. But at this point, again, it's hard to see. So, but I'm not seeing any kind of rotation immediately in the Malakoff area. All those tornado warnings are well east of there, so not really that concerned about Malakoff at this time. And yeah, in Navarro County here, again, we're looking at more, heavy rain. We could see some gusty winds in parts of that area, but I'm just not seeing anything that has me immediately very concerned here. So, I'm looking at those winds beginning to weaken. There's a couple of pockets of maybe some 50-plus mile per hour winds in western Navarro County, but not really too much. Mostly just going to be heavy rain, lots of lightning and thunder and that kind of thing. So I'm going to take another quick break here. I am exhausted, so I'm just going to take a quick break to kind of let me rest my body for just a minute, rest my voice, and we will be right back with continuing coverage of severe storms as they're moving through our area. All right, well, we are back, everybody, with live coverage of severe weather that is moving through parts of our area right now. What I'll tell you is that we have the severe thunderstorm warning that continues for parts of our area for about another 27 minutes here. It includes parts of Hill County, parts of Bosque County, and then down south into McLennan and Limestone counties. And then we have storms moving through Navarro County. At this point, those are not severe. But we are seeing some increasing wind speeds west of Corsicana. It could be some small hail in some of those storms as well. So not really looking at anything that is too terribly concerning at this time. Not anything that has me too terribly worried. There have been and still are a tornado warning or two over in the Tyler area there. That's outside of what we normally cover. I know that there's been several people asking for that, but unfortunately that's outside of the area that we immediately cover, and we gotta keep it local to the people that that have come to rely on us. So we gotta focus on the area that we are covering between Dallas and Waco here in north central Texas. So for Corsicana, for Navarro County, here from Kearns to Corsicana, on over to the Dawson area and Navarro Mills Lake. I mean, you can see the storms are moving through, not terribly intense at this point, not looking like severe weather at this time, but plenty of heavy rain, plenty of lightning and thunder. It's going to be a loud storm, but it's not particularly severe at this point. Storms moving through this area as well. And what I'll tell you is that these storms at this point don't look terribly severe, so I won't be surprised if the National Weather Service maybe makes the decision to cancel that warning at some point. Thank you to Mark for the Cash App donation. Greatly appreciated there. So we have the storms that are moving through, and I want to show you velocity just quickly to show you that in Navarro County here, we do have some increasing winds. So we are looking at some heavier wind speeds picking up from Blooming Grove near Dawson, from Blooming Grove to near Dawson, I should say. But we're not really looking at much of a hail threat from these storms. And then for the winds, look like they have decreased in this part of the storm. So the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Hill and Bosque counties can probably be let go at this point. I'm not really too terribly concerned about that. Now, on the fringes of our area over to the east, we've been watching this storm and not really seeing much rotation at this point, but it's also hard to see that far away from the radar. No tornado warning on that, but the National Weather Service has been monitoring some rotation with that storm, so that will be worth watching as that moves to the northeast of the Athens area towards Murchison. And there are, I'm sure you can see little pockets here of, brighter colors and those kind of things. I'm just not seeing anything that has me convinced of a severe weather threat. Or at least a tornado threat, I should say. But these storms continue to just kind of cruise along their way. And, there might be some flooding concerns in parts of Ellis and Navarro counties. The rain is not getting out of there as quickly. I would even say Bosque County at this point, because there seems to be rain that is just kind of passing through there, not really getting out of there very quickly. It's not drying up very fast, in other words. So I wouldn't be too surprised if maybe there's a concern there about some flooding issues. But we do have a flood watch that goes all the way until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Later today, these storms could very well, we could have a new round of storms that could be strong to severe. We will have to watch that. And then there could be more strong to severe storms Tuesday, early Tuesday morning. And then between all of those, more showers and thunderstorms are possible. So, we're kind of looking at an active period, at least for the next few days. Could be most of the week, depending on how long this front that is coming in gets stalled south of us, how long it just sits there before it finally moves away. And we kind of lose that lifting mechanism that is going to allow more of these storms to develop. So these storms continue in our area, and I'll broaden this out just a little bit. And you can see if I broaden this out more back towards Breckenridge, there's more thunderstorms there. So we can expect more showers and thunderstorms behind this main complex here. But what I will tell you is that overall, we're not looking at a major situation by any means at this point. We haven't seen any tornado reports in our area. No tornadoes happening that we know of. Obviously, like we say in the Tyler area, we have seen some tornado warnings that are ongoing there. Some concerning things in that particular area. And again, eastern Navarro County, we could see some gusty winds there. Doesn't look like anything major at this point. 50 to 60 mile per hour winds, I think, are what we can look at in terms of what's maybe realistic. But as far as our area is concerned, I think that the severe weather threat has largely subsided here. So because I am quite exhausted and I can already feel that my coverage is going to probably only deteriorate at this point. I'm kind of losing my touch here. So I'm going to wrap up live coverage. I will tell you that Evan Andrews is on the air at Fox 4 in Dallas right now. He is going to do a great job of covering this stuff. I think, again, for the most part, our area, the severe weather threat has pretty well subsided. I will probably still stay here at the computer and monitor this. I got to stop talking. I got to let myself rest a little bit because we've got more storms to come over the next, 36, 48 hours. And so I'm going to have to be ready for that. So I'm going to take my moment to rest here, take a quick breather, and then, hey, I'm going to be bringing more updates with you. I will get some sleep at some point. We'll be right back tomorrow with it. And we're just going to keep monitoring things. But Fox 4 on Evan Andrews is one of the best in the business, if not the best in the business. Great mentor of mine. So he is a great place to go for continuing coverage of these showers and thunderstorms and for a look at the week to come because it looks quite busy. Thank you so much for tuning in. More severe weather coverage if necessary, but more storms over the next couple of days. So stay tuned to South